Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from the Mail Fuzz TV channel network thing, whatever we do. I don't know, what do we do? What do we call this anymore?
Streaming video!
I don't know. We're a conglomerate of sorts.
I think we should just become a service. You know, like your Netflix is a streaming service. We're just a content service.
Sure, yes. Content service of losers, yes. That's what we'll put in the business card. So we talk about DC Comics, and I'm Peter, and I'm joined as always with Matt.
Yeah, so news flash real quick. I realize I have 22 boxes of comics.
we got pictures this week. We got some evidence, photographic proof.
Yeah, I have a problem, and I think I need a... Physical's killing me, quite literally, because my back still hurts from hunching over and reorganizing on Thursday.
Also, I think the sag that's left on the floor is actually devalued the house, which is quite bad right now because you're actually trying to sell the house right now. So...
Yeah, but it's also weirdly, as I told Connor, it's also acting as a pillar that's keeping that section of the house up. So I don't know what to do.
So you can't take them with you then? What you're saying, you have to leave them there.
Yeah,
right. You have to put some plaster over it. Just, you know.
No, you know what you have to do. You have to do that thing like in the movies and TV where someone's sleeping and you gotta take it out and replace it with something else. That's what you gotta do. You gotta find something else to slide in as you take it out.
Yeah, it's that, or there's just gonna be a skylight in that section, and that's fine.
Put in Connor's anime collection then. That can prop up and stuff.
I don't really have much of an anime collection.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm trying to paint an image for those at home.
Not 22 short boxes and 3 long boxes full.
God no.
I can build a fort out of if I wanted to.
You probably should.
You should.
No, but you're right. You never notice how much you've got until you get a move, and then you're like, shit.
So that's why I'm announcing now I'm switching to mostly digital coming up.
Yes. I believe, I mean, not that I'm saying you've got the room to do this, but I believe you're not supposed to stack them more than 4 high. For the weight will hurt the ones at the bottom.
That's okay. That's mostly New 52 down there at the bottom. So
willing to take the risk.
Yeah. So no, I have them 5 high because if I don't have them 5 high, then that's 7 boxes that I don't know where else to put right now.
That's fair. Maybe you need to cross-hatch them. Maybe that's the system you have to employ.
Well, once we move, I gotta find that it's gonna be a factor into moving somewhere is where the comics go. And I know my wife's just given in because I told her, I go, once we get moved, I'm gonna start going through my comics, getting rid of the ones I don't want. She goes, no, it's okay. I know the comics are like your thing. You can get rid of other things first. I was like, oh, okay, well...
That feels dangerous. I feel like Matt will start removing things that are actually important to the household before he gets rid of the comics.
Doors, windows...
Hey, Matt, where's the toaster? Oh, I had to go. Comics, need comics.
I need to put a short box on there.
Yep, on the counter.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Connor's here as well, just for the record.
Yeah, I am.
For the record. He will not be here next week, though. He's missing next week. His work schedule is taking him from us for a week. So me and Matt will be having an intimate short discussion next week for the 5 or so comics that are out.
Yeah.
Which is why I'll remind you now, next week we want questions. So go to
please.
At DC Comics Podcast and tweet us questions. You can also ask questions in the comments, and we'll try and get through a bunch of them next week when it's a later week. It's a later week for the books. So what's coming up in this week's show, though? We have a big list of books this week. We have Detective Comics 984, Superman issue 2, The Flash 52, Catwoman number 2, Supergirl 21, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 50, Titans 24, Hawkman 3, Plastic Man 3, Suicide Squad 45, Sideways number 7.
Okay, we're done.
Yes, that's the list. That's the list. You'll notice there was no Wonder Woman 52 in there. I was going to try and fit it in, and I did not quite manage it. So I might catch up next week.
I was counting on you to do that so I can make it my cover, but there goes that.
No, I'll maybe catch up next week so I can read. The problem is that both issues of Wonder Woman fall in the 2 weeks that are typically quite busy right now. That's the downside.
It's fine now when you're like, I can skip it. The real problem comes in a few months where you've got the new run, and it's still on these busy weeks.
When it's a new run,
but by that point, something might else fall off, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but when it's a new run, I'll make time for it. But I'm in a habit right now where I assume I can fit most of my books in a certain amount of time. But weeks 2 and 4 have inflated so big that I actually can't do that anymore. So
yeah, I didn't manage to get all mine read this week just with my work schedule. I'm just like,
Yeah,
nope, didn't happen.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna be honest right now. I only skimmed Suicide Squad, and I think I still understood it just fine because it's Suicide Squad.
So what you're saying is we're leaving Matt to do the recap of that one first
Yes,
and see how much he got.
Exactly.
That's fine.
That's what we'll do. But do you know, I joked about this a long time ago that I might start, because I always sort of recount the plot at the start of each section. I actually might start randomly saying, okay, now Matt, you can tell us what happened in this book, and then I'll say, no,
that's
Connor,
fine.
you
As
can
long
tell
as
us
I
about
read
this one.
And I can just refuse.
No, you can't refuse. It's law. It's no law.
That's fine. I mean, I hope you're okay
Make
with
the law.
Cliff's notes, because that's what I'm shooting for.
Custos are fine. Custos
Yeah.
are fine.
Stuff happened. The end.
So, all the enthusiasm. So that's what's coming up on the show this week. The big list of books. Luckily, not much news. There was one little tidbit that was worth mentioning. That is Mr. Miracle 11 and 12 have both been pushed a little bit again. Surprising absolutely no one.
Is indeed.
Yes, Mr. Miracle number 11 will now be released on September 12th, or so they claim, and issue 12 will be coming out on October 10th. So that, unfortunately, that's 2 week twos if you're paying attention to that. But that is September week 2.
I do
October
believe
week 2.
11 at least, because I'm sure I saw Mitch Garrett say this week that he'd like finished 11.
Oh, okay.
So, you know.
I mean, I'm willing to cut him slack considering he inks and colors his stuff too. So like, it's not like he can just pass it off when he's done assembly line style.
Oh yeah.
So-
Yeah, no, it's true. You can't just give it to someone else to finish off.
No, because that's his. Like,
I'm not throwing him under the bus anyway. I'm cracking jokes because I feel like they've pushed these last few issues like so many times by little like 1 week increments. And like, no, now it's 2 weeks later. No, now it's 3 weeks later. Now it's,
It's added up, hasn't it?
But here we are. So it'll be ending in October. Should all go to
And-
plan.
Gerard's is such a character too because I listened to, it hasn't been as busy at work, so I've had time to get some more podcasts in, and I listened to a Geek History lesson about Mr. Miracle, and they had an interview with him, and came out about this time last year when issue 1 was getting ready to come out. And man, he's such a funny guy. Like, it's so weird that the book can get so dark, but then you have him and King are really some just, cracking jokes at one another's expense all the time. But he said his dream book is Streaky the Super Cat and the I can't remember the other character.
I'm already
He's on
sold.
Teen Titans Go.
I'm already sold.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's the hobo that lives in Beast Boy's room on Teen Titans. That he wants to do a book featuring those two. So
Interesting.
yeah,
No, I just checked. He finished penciling 11
Ah, okay.
on Sunday.
He's got about a month then to do everything else for issue
As
11.
we know, inkers just trace. Right? That's what Chasing Amy taught us.
Yeah,
Inkers are just tracers.
yeah. Colors is a bit more work.
Hey, if
but-
you-
Yeah, it's a bit more.
If you're Greg Land and the whole thing's tracing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, on that bombshell, my joke went down like a lead balloon. So on that, we'll move swiftly on.
I think the problem is it's not much of a joke when it's just a true
It's
statement.
just true. Okay. All right. I'll accept that. I'll accept that. But anyway, let's move on then. Let's actually just go into books. We'll just go straight into books this week because we do have like 12 of them, and some of them might be meaty conversations. We'll find out. So we'll start with Detective Comics. Detective Comics 984. Bryan Aberhill, Phil Briones on the art. So this is continuing. We left off with the school bus of kids were kidnapped by Karma.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure, we're on 986.
986. I forget.
You
to put
really
the number
threw
up.
me then for a
You
second.
said 4, yeah, and I was like, wait a minute. I just organized my
okay.
comics that I just put away 4.
Yeah,
My
it took me a
bad, my
second to
bad.
actually check.
I forgot to put the number up by the 2 because I always copy paste last month's list from the same week to make it easy to update. And I forgot to update the numbers.
Makes sense.
It's fine. Anyway, so bus full of kids was kidnapped. The reporter was killed, and I really like the start of this issue because it's like everyone like, oh, if Batman's going to save them, he should give us some sign of hope. And he actually does. He like beams the bat symbol through like all the screens in Gotham's knockoff Times Square, whatever. I don't know. Does that have a name? Do we have like an official name for
I don't
Gotham's Times
think
Square?
so. We should hit him up and like the DC or the Batman editorial at DC. Be like, hey, you guys keep giving all these fun names to everything else, like Morrison Bay and whatnot.
They've
Like,
definitely got a name for it. You know, because
Yeah.
we've seen this location before, so they must refer to it internally as something.
Yeah.
It definitely was in Nolan's movies, because that's the Wayne building at the center. You know, like you have that shot in Begins with the train rushing towards it and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh sure, yeah. But yeah, so Batman's coming, and the whole everyone else can stay behind thing quickly goes away because Barbara sends in and Cassandra, and Black Lightning is not too pleased about it. And Barbara's like, well, I'm just going to stay here and do nothing. Yeah, that doesn't sound like me. So Cass, so
She's being a bit of a brat here. Like, I get it.
I think what's a little bit more annoying is she essentially does stay there and do nothing.
Right.
Yeah, she's on the comm. She's doing her Oracle job here, rather.
Yeah, and then that gets cut out within about 30 seconds.
Mm.
Yeah, but no, it's how insolent she is to Black Lightning. There's like, Babs, you're not a teenager. You're studying library science.
Yeah.
Like.
Library science.
Come on.
I legitimately didn't know library science was a thing until it was brought up in Batgirl.
I'm still not convinced it is.
I don't think it is either, but if anyone's going to study it, it is Babs. Like, I'm sure she created her own major. So...
There's logic to this. But, you know, actually, this is mostly an action issue. This is mostly the rescue of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And Batman's like, Cassandra, you're here. I'm going to argue or complain. You saved the kids. I'm going after karma. And... you know, I love that Cassandra like takes off her mask. Like the kids are scared, they're crying, and she takes off her mask to let them know, "Hey, here to save you," or whatever she says. You know, in her broken up speak.
She says, "I am help."
I am help. That was it. And it was kind of sweet. It was like, nah, like screw the secret identity. No one knows who she is anyway. Like just here, like here's my face. I'm going to protect you. It's okay. I promise.
She really has become the star of Detective Comics. Like since Tinian brought her in, like.
It's a shame she's definitely leaving to go to the Outsiders, right?
And that's fine, because then I'll be enjoying an Outsiders book. Yeah. Digitally, not physical. You guys need to keep
If you skip the opening segment, Matt is vowing to switch to mostly digital because he's got too many boxes of comics. So, yeah, I really liked all the rescue stuff. I mean, I think the Babs acting a little bit bratty is maybe the one complaint I have, because everything else is pretty on point in this issue.
Well, and it makes sense for the story because she's challenging Black Lightning because she feels like this is Gotham. You're from Metropolis. Like this is our thing.
And to be fair,
I feel like Babs is probably the wrong character to be doing that with, though.
Yeah, that was gonna be my point.
But to be fair to at least the arc as a whole, this was the character who was warned to do this last issue.
Yeah.
Like Batman said, "Hey, Babs will challenge you because of this."
Yeah.
Now, while we might disagree with that as a concept, but at least it is consistent amongst its own story.
Like, I could definitely have seen it being had she not run off. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Being the one to do this and not so much Babs, but you know it's fine. It feels just out of character for Babs, but within the frame of the story, I think it works because she's proven wrong. You know, because Black Lightning does kind of lead them the way they need to go.
Yeah, because he contains the bomb, he shows up, and Cass gets all the kids out. And there's a fun run from the bomb section at the end where she like comes back in the bike to get Black Lightning, and then Batman has to grapple on at the back of the bike as the building blows up. It's just a fun action scene.
I'll catch up.
Yeah,
that was pretty fun.
It's a fun action scene, and that's most of the issue. And then they get back, and Bruce is like, "Hey, Babs." When Black Lightning's giving orders, he's giving orders directly from me. He's he's in charge. Babs like, it's this Gotham, I'm used to it. I'm fine. Because Black Lightning.
She's kind of like, screw this, and walks off.
Yeah. But I mean, the line after that though was I was like, okay, right, she's not actually in that much of a huff. She's like, I'm used to this. It's fine. Whatever. I'll be back tomorrow. You know, it didn't feel like a big storming out. Like, oh, I'm done with this now. It was just kind of,
Well, okay, it's all. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we leave up, and it's quite a heroic issue. It does once again. I feel like every issue that we get of this arc, I'm like, okay, I'm actually really into like Hilda and the Outsiders book now, especially if Cass is going to be there. Like, you know, I'm enjoying the action. I'm enjoying what he's doing with these characters. It's working for me, and of course the big ending of the issue is okay, to fight Karma, who can see all my moves coming. I'm not there yet, but I know what I have to learn and who can teach me it. And we get the Katana reveal at the end of the final page, who of course has traditionally been a member of the Outsiders, so this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the only one we're missing is Geoforce, and the fact that Markovia is seeming to play a central role. I feel like we'll get some Geoforce coming up.
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me.
But by the end, that said, I'm kind of disappointed in Karma because when this started, I was like, oh, this is a cool mystery villain. And then Hill just gave us the origin last issue and then kept it up. And he's upset with Batman for taking his eyes because of the bats that he left him there. And, you know, again, it's not so problematic that it fits the story. But
oh, no, that's the thing. I don't think he is upset that he took his eyes. And I think he's upset that it's the whole, oh, you know, Batman's gotten weak because he's got a family thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When he came to me as a young man, he was aggressive and he solved the problem, and now he's just like, wishy-washy. Do what you want.
Did he solve the problem, though? Because now it's coming back to haunt him.
Well, I think Karma sees it as Bruce set him back on the right path. He stopped him being a little delinquent shit. So
yes,
Bruce did his job.
He's kind of like the Amanda character from the Saw series. She's the one who survives the trap and thinks, oh, Jigsaw made me a better person because of what he did. It's a weird comparison to make, but it's the only thing I can think of.
It's applicable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I only saw up to Saw 3, so I think I remember that.
And of course, it was the first 3 Saws. That was the thing. Not to spoil Saw 2, but the big twist in Saw 2 is that she was working for Jigsaw the whole time because she now believes in him. But anyway, those movies are terrible. Don't take this as any kind of endorsement of the Saw franchise.
No. I never saw past the first one because I thought it was awful.
I do like the first one though. The first one by itself is
it's aged, Matt. It's aged.
Has it? I haven't seen it since it came out.
The acting. See, try to watch it now, Matt. The acting and the filter that the camera's been shot through is like tedious shit.
Oh boy.
So tedious.
So you're saying Brian Hill kind of has done this story better through the pages?
Oh sure, yes.
I'm not sure I'd actually go that far though, because I don't think it's actually done well here. I know what they're going for. I don't think it works.
Well, I'm holding out until we get to the end of this because I see the pieces in play, and I'm just going to see if he can stick the landing. If he can stick the landing, I feel like it's gonna. But if it ends up becoming jumbled because of all of these weaker parts that me and Connor are criticizing here.
Well, to be fair, I was equally critiquing that last issue. Was the origin of this?
Yeah. But I was just you didn't on this one, and continuity's sake.
Well, no, because it's not a problem in this issue. Is that was last? I mean, it's still ongoing, obviously, but it's not something specific to this issue.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Right now, I don't have as many problems. But if he doesn't stick the landing with it, I'm gonna go back and go, okay, well, this wasn't really fully formed.
Yeah, but define what stick the landing means, because at this point, I've already decided that I don't necessarily like where the villain comes from, so I don't really care what they do with the villain by the end now. I'm enjoying what's happening because of the villain now. I'm enjoying what all the regular characters are doing.
Well, I mean stick the landing by... He's introducing the outsiders bit by bit and showing how a different team might be needed for Batman.
Sure.
One that works outside the lines. So
yeah, but we're not worried about that.
As long as we get there through... Well, I'm just saying, as long as we get there through Karma, then it's fine. All the Karma stuff isn't going to bother me as much as if it comes out of here and Karma's like this.
I think it's making that flashback origin feel relevant and like it has some importance and not is just for the sake of it.
Sure. That wouldn't necessarily be a big deal for me, though, if it doesn't. Because ultimately, I mean, I like the sound of Karma in the first issue and what his goal was. And I still kind of like how he's pushing Batman in a different way. And he's going after the sidekicks, saying, they're making you weak. I still like that part of it, and I always did. The last issue, the flashback of how he came to be, just kind of like made him go from, okay, interesting to, okay, he's just another generic villain that we've got for the sake of this plot. But the actual plot, I mean, there's so many stories in comic books where I don't really like the villain that much. I just like what comes about for the hero because of the villain. And he's kind of fallen into that category for me at this point.
I think I'm with Matt here on that. The villain should be better. You're kind of giving it a pass, going, it doesn't really matter. It's just a weak villain. Whereas, oh no, it should be better than that. There's no excuse to just go, it's a weak villain.
For it to necessitate another team kind of coming out of this, like, he had to bring in Black Lightning, right, to teach the younger members on all this. Now he's bringing in Katana.
The threat
so it's
should
Batman
equal
exploring. That. Yeah, well, it's Batman exploring this new way because clearly the old way made things worse. And again, as long as that keeps going, I mean, it's fine.
Obviously, yeah, it should be better. In an ideal world, it would always be better, but it's often not. And this is kind of... I feel like this problem, though, where the villain's kind of weak compared to everything else, is such a common thing and otherwise good stories that still overall are really good for everything else they do, that I can't just throw the story under the bus immediately for having a weak villain. I mean, hell, if I threw things under the bus for having a weak villain, I wouldn't like any Marvel movies.
Yeah, but I'm not saying the weak villains. I'm not.
Connor's not disagreeing with that. He's got a smirk in his face. He knows I'm right.
I'm just saying, yeah.
I think for me there is a difference between those movies where the villain was never the no, it never even tries. Whereas this has tried to make an attempt with a villain. This is trying to form an entire team based on the threat of this villain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it has to justify that for me.
It's one of these things though where I feel like in the future it'll be like that just forgotten origin where it doesn't really matter that much, where it's like, oh, we're just happy the Outsiders together and they'll have great adventures on their own, and people will say, oh, how did they form again? And go, oh yeah, there was some story about some dude.
See, you say that, but I'm the person that tells you, oh no, there's this guy named Karma and Batman had bats peck out his eyes, and then he, that's how this version came together. Because I can remember the last version of the Outsiders, the post Nightwing Titans Outsiders that came together, and you had an oddly specific Owlman in there, and then they got rid of him. Right before they brought in the Talons and whatnot for the New 52. So, but yeah, it's I'm still enjoying it. I'm just saying, as part of Karma, my biggest complaint is with Karma being this villain that's just kind of like, okay, he's actually pretty simplistic.
Oh yeah, Karma is easily the weakest part of this arc. Like there's no question about it.
No. But everything else I'm loving. Like Black Lightning is this character that I want to see more of, but I never feel like there's a series where he's at the forefront that I go and pick up. In fact, for whatever reason.
Let me compare this to something else. Let me compare it to a TV pilot, where typically the plot in a TV pilot is usually pretty generic and sucky. It's just kind of there to set up the main elements of what the show's going to be. That's just kind of falling into that category. Where
the Outsiders,
I don't look back at Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer and think that was one of the best stories. That was such a good origin story. No, it was fine. It was okay. It was serviceable.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened in that one. It's been forever though.
Buffy said to Willow, seize the day, and then Willow ended up trying to date a vampire. Things went very poorly. Buffy had to save the day. They were trying to do the harvest to bring the Master out of Hayden from the Hellmouth underneath Sunnydale. It didn't very work though, because Buffy showed up and killed Luke, the vampire that was in that episode, and she tricked him by convincing him that daylight was out, but it wasn't really daylight. It was another 5 hours, so he just thought there was sunlight, which distracted him, and then she staked him. The end.
Pete, how many times have you seen that episode?
Dozen times maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So anyways, Outsiders.
Yes.
What are we rating it?
Yes, Detective Comics. We should rate the book. But no, I still liked it a lot. I still think it's a solid day. I think the action was really good. I like the art. I like Cassie's moments especially. Katana was a fun reveal at the end, and it leaves me very hopeful for this Outsiders book that we're probably getting. They're not told us yet, but we're pretty sure.
Yeah.
So solid 8 from me. I quite liked it. Matt?
Yep, I agree with what you said. The art, although I like Briones, but this one felt like it was a little bit lacking. Some of the art here.
I agree. I think it's lacking a little bit just because I like Madoncha more.
Yeah, me too. And it's hard to compare. Yeah, it's hard to compare, but it's still decent art. Cast looked kind of weird in some of them.
When I was skimming through it before we recorded, just to refresh my memory, I liked it more than the first. Cause I think the first time I got whiplash from the previous artist, I was like, oh. But when I was looking at it, I guess no, it's still pretty solid. Like, was it not
Briones' last issue?
Sorry,
I
thought we had 2 Madoncha and this is the second.
Is this the fourth one?
Yeah.
Oh, this was the third one. Okay, fine. But okay, maybe that's my point then. My point is that it bothered me more than the last issue, but this issue, where it's still Briones again, so it didn't bother me much.
But yeah, so I didn't like it as much as Pete, so it's 7.5.
Sure. Yeah. You literally started that with saying you agree with everything, and you ended with no. He's just doing this. He's sick of us having the same score. He's intentionally trying to sabotage it.
He is.
I'm not trying to sabotage. I'm just saying you seem to like it more than I did, so I can't give it the same.
This is why I always go last, so that Matt can't cook the books.
Yeah, but I Jedi mind tricked you, and you went first this time. So
aye.
Sucker.
Connor, what are you rating it?
No, I agree with most of what you're saying. I'm still hopeful about the Outsiders book. A little bit more cautious, given that there's been a few times now characterization has felt a little weird. Babs in this one, Bruce in the flashback last time. But I think overall, I'm just gonna give this a 7. I think it's solid.
All right. Okay.
Look at that progression. Like stairs.
What?
We went down 0.5 each time.
All right,
Yeah.
okay.
Like stairs.
I glanced at my phone for a second and Matt just said something completely nonsensical, like, stairs? What?
It's a non sequitur.
What happened? All right. Okay. All right, well, that'll take us on is Superman issue 2. Bryan Michael Bendis and Ivan Reis on this one. Obviously, Connor's not reading it because he's a filthy non-Bendis reader.
Oh, man. You missed one of the greatest cameos. You missed one of the greatest cameos of all time.
So here's the thing. So Rogolzar, we see Rogolzar in the Phantom Zone now, right? Because we were speculating, did he have something to do with pulling Earth into the Phantom Zone? It turns out no. He actually is surprised that as we are, the Earth's just there now, and he's about to attack Superman. He's like, no, actually, I need an army. This is an opportunity, and he like backs away with a sick smile on his face. It's like a good little moment. But before that, when he first goes to the Phantom Zone, he's like, his narration's all, what is this place? Oh, this is where Krypton sends its criminals and its junk and its
trash.
It's trash.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he stumbles on to Nuclear Man from Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, Quest for Peace, rather.
Quest for Peace. The
Yes.
Quest from Peace is what the U.S. is doing right now.
So we get Nuclear Man, a comic, and do you know what this reminded me of actually in terms of how he's treated? It's very much just for some deep Godzilla reference in here for everyone. Godzilla Final Wars, which was the final Japanese Godzilla movie before they did Resurgence a couple of years ago, but back in 2004 they did Final Wars, and it was full of all these cameos from all these different monsters from all the different franchises over the years. The American 1998 Godzilla from the Matthew Broderick movie showed up at one point, and Godzilla beat the shit out of him in about 10 seconds. That's what this was. Rogolzar just decimates Nuclear Man in like 2 pages.
It was great.
It's beautiful.
It made me a little bit sad at that treatment, considering that was the one that Reeve directed, right?
Well, he didn't direct it, no.
Or I know it was near and dear to his heart.
He
or
helped.
something.
He helped develop the concept, but he didn't actually write the script or direct it. But he did help develop the concept. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that one kind of that hurt my heart a little bit, but it is Nuclear Man and Superman 4, and it kind of deserves that treatment. So just seeing Zar go like that.
It was so funny, Matt. So funny.
Yes.
I was
I'm reading it at work, and it's early, and my boss is sitting there, and I'm reading Superman, and I went, oh, holy shit. And she goes, what? And I showed her, and she goes, oh, Superman 4. So it's like, it's instant. Like, even people that don't read comics, and so just for that moment, it was pretty great. Like,
yeah. Honestly, it revealed on Twitter that this was going to happen, that we were going to see him, but I'd forgotten about it. And then, I turned the page, and I was like, "Oh, okay, Nuclear Man," and I just started I started cackling. It was just such a nice moment. So obviously, the main bulk of this issue, though, is Superman being like, "Hey, we're in the Phantom Zone now. How'd that happen?"
Yep.
So
going to the different Justice League members for,
yeah, he's got
so they're come to him for help, but he's also reaching out to them for help, because this is something like, it's not just a Superman thing. The Earth's in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah. So we get the mind link from Jean for all the different members, and they are like, they're seeing him, like, we're seeing that all they're dealing with situations like, Flash is in London, Plastic Man's somewhere, Batman's doing a thing. They're all over the place, doing various things, and so basically they're all too busy, and he's still trying to figure it out. And he goes to the fortress. We see that he's like, there's like some things that happen right away, like he's saving the space shuttle, because obviously when it all transports to the Phantom Zone, certain things like that start to like go haywire, so he has to go save some things and stop some disasters. And they quite rightly ask, hey, how long can the Earth survive if it's not rotating around the sun anymore? Like, just simple little questions like that. What happens now that the Earth is taken from its orbit? Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But the big thing that happens though is we get to the end of the issue, and I got very confused for
as did I.
Yes. So the Flash comes into the fortress that was, and he's like, "Hey, is that the Phantom Zone projector?" And Superman's like, "Yeah, that's the one." And he's like, "Oh, that's not big enough for a planet." And so there's some banter between them as they're talking about the possibilities. And Flash is like, was this Luthor? Was it Brainiac? Was it Joker? Like, this feels like something Joker might do if he could get his hands in the tech.
Yeah, and so it's Flash, but it doesn't sound like Barry. And that's why I was like, Bendis, what are you doing, man? Like, you're all over the place. and then it keeps going, and
Then he
where does
collapses.
Yeah.
He
Where does it say it?
collapses.
Oh.
He collapses, and Superman catches him, and he's like, "I've got you." And he calls Batman and Co. And he's like, "Hey, something's happening. Like we have to we have to do something here." And he pulls off his hood, and he's got red hair.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Wait, is that Wally?" And I'm like, I'm confused. Because in the previous page, he called him Barry. Like, he actually did call him Barry in the previous page. And then once he's got him in his arms, he's flying him up to, like, try and get help. He says, I know, Jean, I forgot. I think I forgot which Flash I was for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So, something weird's going on. Because this appears to be Wally in the Flash suit, but he thought it was Barry at first.
But he's wearing Barry's suit, because we all know his suits... The last time we saw him was different.
Yes.
Yeah, the Kid Flash version. That's all red and whatnot. So, yeah, so I got there and I was like, oh, it makes sense. Because even when I was reading, I was like, this feels like Flash from the Justice League cartoon. So, and that was Wally. And then I get to that page, I was like, red hair.
Which actually makes it very impressive that he nailed that voice so much that you're like, this doesn't sound like Barry. This sounds like this version of the Flash.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that was pretty... I mean, it's a mystery, that's for sure. Like, is it just the Phantom Zone? Is there something more going on here? Is there some psychic kind of thing going on and whatnot? I don't know, but I'm intrigued. And again, I'm upset that we have to wait. Like, this is becoming a Bendis thing. I also want to talk about the beginning, which we skipped over, was a bit of Rogolzar's history.
There's a flashback scene to a war between Tamaran and Thanagar.
Yeah, and you see, I was like, is that Starfire's dad? And sure enough, upon a Google, it's what's his name, King Mariner, I want to say.
I'll leave that to you, Matt. You can get that. So yeah, this is 497 years ago. Oh, sorry, no, it's not. It's many years ago. It's Planet 497.
Many years ago on Planet 497, and it's uncharted.
Yes.
So it's looking like a conquest. Like the two sides are just fighting over this planet, and so the King of Tamaran gives this rousing speech, and the Thanagarians will be sorry they ever stepped foot here, and they charge, and you see the Thanagarians coming in, and the king sees that Rogolzar is leading the Thanagar army, and he's like, "Oh no, we're leaving. They can have this planet," which I think is super interesting. In that, here's the shadow character that is seeming now to he has a different impact now across the cosmic section of DC. Yeah. Like, if he's getting involved in wars between Tamaran and Thanagar...
It's worth mentioning that they know who he is, because he says they brought Rogolzar. He's like, retreat. Like, he makes a call based on that. He knows who he is. He has cred. He has reputation amongst these people. So, that's interesting. It's very interesting.
So we'll see where that goes, and if he has any more cosmic... Because we know there's stuff going on with the Green Lanterns, with him,
which is actually worth mentioning. No one knows where any of the Green Lanterns are.
Yeah.
So they may have just all been off Earth when it got taken. I mean, that may just be as simple as that, but they can't find any Green Lanterns.
We also know that when he was being organized, like the when from the Man of Steel series, when Rogolzar was operating, there was that quintessence of aliens. And Rand was involved, I want to say, at one point.
Yeah, there was a Guardian. There was
a Guardian. Yeah. So how this impacts the cosmic section, and more on that when we get to Supergirl, because Supergirl plunges way more into this, which is really cool. I like that there's this synergy between the books right now. But no, and Ivan Reis, the art, he's great at Superman. Like, it gives it a Saturday morning cartoon kind of feel. So, and I like that in my Superman books.
Yeah, no, it's just great. I've got a cat in my lap here, causing chaos. So no, it's this was another great issue. I thought I'm super into this run at this point, and like you say, like there's a moment where we thought, oh, he's getting Barry's voice wrong. This is weird. Oh no, wait, it's not actually Barry. Well played, Bendis. Well played.
Yep. Exactly.
And then it's still very confusing. I don't really know what it means, but he's like, I forgot which Flash I was there for a second. Cat, get your tail out of my face.
Well, it wasn't like you're like, oh, Bendis whiffed. It's like, oh no, he whiffed on purpose.
Yes, this was intentional. So
yeah, pretty great.
Pretty great. So we'll rate the book out of 10 then. Matt, what are you giving it?
Oh, so this is a solid 8. The art was great. The story. We got to see Nuclear Man, and then Tamarin. And I mean, come on.
I'll one up you. I'll go 8.5.
Oh yeah. All right.
Blast. I had a blast. Yeah, like I said, the art was good. Nuclear Man was a great little cameo, and I'm intrigued by what it's doing with the fact that this is having such an impact on everything. It's not just Superman. Like the entire Justice League are kind of aware of the situation, and there's more going on. So no, good stuff. So that will take us on to the Flash number 52. Joshua Williamson writing and Christian Duce on the art. So this was Barry dealing with Commander Cole now being in Central City, and how to put up with him while there's a plot going on with the Trickster and the Para-Angels.
You've overlooked the most important thing. We open on a panel of the multiverse map, and I'm like, oh, hang on a second.
Yeah, he's on the orrery. All
Okay,
these
sure,
flashes.
yes. He goes and speaks to all the Flashes from all the other Earths about these other forces, and they give him the advice of going on a force quest.
Yeah, not just they. The turtle from Captain Carrot's Earth, Fastback from the Zoo Crew, is like, oh, I went on a force quest, and you need to do that. It'll open up your eyes. But just seeing all these different Flashes, and the one Lady Flash in purple, it's weird that she's there because she's the Tangent Universe Flash, and her powers aren't tied to speed. Her powers are tied to light. So, I mean, I get why she's there, but to give her such a spotlight and whatnot, I feel that what's going to be going forward is it's going to be these forces that tie Flashes across the multiverse together, not just the Speed Force. So whether it be the Strength Force or the Sage Force or whatever else that he finds out across this story, I feel this is where it's going.
Yeah, I have no doubt that people who are like even more continuity nuts than Matt have already dissected that 2-page layout and tried to name as many of those characters and where they came from as they possibly can, because I'm sure most of them have origins. I'm sure most of them come from something, and they're not just randomly created characters for the purpose of this page.
Yeah.
But no, because you have a Bizarro Flash in there. You have the Flash from Kingdom Come. That's just kind of a vibrating blur. There's like a robot Flash.
It's like the Red Tornado Flash, right?
Yeah, Red Tornado Flash. There's a little like Imp Flash.
Yeah, that'll be the one from what's it called? We got it in Multiversity. We got an issue on that. The little Batman, didn't we?
Yeah. You have the Justice Riders version of Flash, who's like a gunslinger. But the one that really stuck out to me is you have Jay Garrick from the Earth 2 series from New 52 in the background. So again, I don't know how much of this, but what stuck out to me is that he has an exchange with the Flash whose powers aren't speed driven. So I'm probably just sinking into something I shouldn't be, because that's what I do. But but yeah, so multiverse, that's cool. I like when Williamson reminds us this takes place in a larger universe.
Yeah.
But
larger multiverse. Even.
Multiverse.
It's nice that so we're focusing in on Barry in the sense that we've lost Wally and Wallace. But instead of just getting insular, it's like no, we're going multiversal.
Yeah, and things feel very different as well, because now he's moved in with Iris, and we have like a scene with them sitting on the couch and openly talking about like his Flash antics, which is a complete shift from obviously it's been like 10 issues or something like that since you found out, because we had that arc go straight into the Grodd stuff, we went straight into Flash War, but the whole thing, like for like 35-40 issues, it was she didn't know about him being the Flash, and we were doing the whole secret identity thing for a while, and it's such a change to have this. And there's that fun little gag at the end of the page where he speeds off and then speeds back to give her a kiss, because she looks really annoyed at him at first, and then he comes back, and there's a little joke like, oh, you're always ahead of me, and one day you'll catch up, Barry. It's sweet. The Barry-Irish relationship actually feels like it's there now, because as much as it was better at the start of Rebirth than to what it was before, I think we all just kind of missed them just being a couple and just being there, and they're not quite married yet. Although I did get a nice little smell from her remembering the wedding, but not telling him that she remembers that specifically,
Yeah.
So it's sweet if you like their relationship, and I do. So the main plot though is that the trickster is actually being taken out from some agents to actually tell on Wolf and his shady.
Yeah, he's gonna testify.
Yeah.
On what's been going on in Iron Heights.
Shady practices. So, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. Shady. But the Power Angels come to get him, and Flash sees this going on. He intervenes, runs up the building. Typical Flash action as you do. Has a bit of a fight. Commander Cole shows up and kind of gets in the way, freezes the power demons, almost kills one, and Barry ends up having a bit of a pissing contest. Like, this is my city, we do things my way, you don't do this, blah blah blah. And Trickster runs away and gets sucked into the ground. The ground just opens up and eats him, and I was like, is this like a tar pit thing? Like, what's going on right now?
My brain went straight there too.
Yeah.
And he's missing his hand, which is, I forgot about that.
It fell off earlier in the issue. Yeah.
So that's great. But yeah, Trickster looks like he got, and I was like, oh man, is James Jesse coming back?
Yeah, and until the end, and then Cole's like tracked like energy that they're trying to track down the other forces. He's like, okay, so this is where Trickster went away, and there's also energy here that corresponds with the Strength Force, and then Trickster comes out the ground. And Joey reminded me of the final Joker fight from Arkham Asylum.
That's what I got too. Yeah,
that's what it looks like. That big, muscly, bulky version.
When he's venomized.
Yeah. And it's basically, I mean, and this is better arguably because the Joker thing in Arkham Asylum just felt kind of we just need a boss fight, and we want it to be the Joker, so we have to make him stronger for whatever reason. Whereas this is like, no, we're doing a thing with the Strength Force, so this is actually tied into the plot. And he's like, I learned a new trick, Flash. So we got big Hulk Trickster to deal with next issue, which should be delightful.
Which I like because it's Trickster. It's what else? I mean, you wouldn't expect that out of him to be the Strength Force.
And he's got like a rock arm instead of his fake arm now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. It's a nice touch.
There was also a bit with Iris saying like all these memories are coming back, but they kind of come and go. But some of them really like stay with her, and you get a flash of she remembers their wedding and stuff. And I just love the way that the art was handled with that, because the way that it made it seem like dreamy and misty and whatnot.
The purple haze on it.
Yeah, I got to that page. I was like, oh man, that's a real cool effect.
Yeah, there's some reasonable expression work there. I like the smirk in her face, and she's been kind of cheeky and not telling him, like, no, nothing specific, but she's actually remembering the wedding. And it's this really neat way that it feels like they're back to being themselves, like I said, without going through all the plot beats of actually doing the wedding and all that again, which we might do at some point. I can see us having that later in the run, but...
and then you get...
I can see it being quite easy, though, like, once they both remember, and be like, well, we might as well just do it.
Yeah, we've already been married.
Deal out of it.
Yeah, why not? The stuff with Kristen too, because not that I forgot she was a character, but I forgot because there's so much has happened since Barry got moved to Iron Heights. But she looked like she was heading up that investigation into Wolf because she lets it slip to Barry. It's such a big case we were building, and now it's lost. And he goes, "Wait, what?" And she goes, "Oh, never mind." So I like that Williamson's seeding all this little stuff, and like. This is shaping up to be a really good run. Like, he's 52 issues in. He's written all of them, right? Like, he hasn't not.
Yeah. Did this have a Rebirth issue as well, or
it did,
one? So 53 issues then, including that.
53 issues.
Two annuals.
Yeah.
Or one annual. Has there been one or two? It was just one.
At least one. I don't know if there's.
It was the prelude to the Flash War. I think that was the only one we've had so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so
54.
54 issues. And I think he said at cons that you're going to have to kill him to get off the book. So
that's fine by me.
Yeah,
someone might try.
Someone may try, but it's not. It's actually, it feels, because I think obviously it got really good with the garage stuff, and then Flash War was really good, and it felt like he was finally getting to do what he'd clearly been wanting to do since the start, and it was using elements that he'd been setting up in that first like 30-40 issues, and making them feel more relevant and more important. And I think, there was almost a slight worry that after Flash War was done and we went back to just being Barry as the main character, that oh, will it go back to still being good, but not as great as it became? But it does feel more confident. It feels like there's just like he's settled into what he wanted the book to be and where he wanted to be and where he wanted Barry and Iris to be and what they're dealing with. So now we're dealing with a Strength Force and unique new ideas that feel unique to the run. So yeah, I guess we're pretty much all praise. I want to mention the art briefly as well because I think Duce does a good job here. I think there's some nice facial expressions. And I think the reason why I want to point it out is because I remember he filled in for an issue or two back in the first arc, and I remember feeling like it was a step down at the time, and I didn't like how he was drawing heads. I didn't have that problem this time, so I think he's actually gotten better.
I have a couple of critiques. I think the earpieces for the Flash are like way too long.
So that's fair.
They seem to go on forever, and also I do think it's overshadowed at times. Like there's just like when Barry and Iris are sitting having that conversation. I think it's like the panel after she has the wedding flash.
Mm-hmm.
Like Barry's face, the shadow just looks like it's way too heavy. There's a few times in the issue that I felt that. That's
fair. Like I say, I think it was much better than I was expecting given his previous issues. And I thought it was some good expressive work. And I really liked the panel of Trickster being pulled into the ground. I thought looked really great. I thought the orange mixing with his purples was a really nice contrast, and it looked good. And I'm being dragged in, but he's only got one arm to try and because he's doing that classic thing where the arms are out trying to like hold himself up, but he's only got one arm, so it looks really futile.
And there's not really anything to grab onto.
Yeah.
No.
So that's fun, but I think the line works generally pretty good in this issue. So no. So we'll rate the book then. Flash issue 52. What are you giving it, Matt?
Oh, 8.5.
Connor?
Yeah, solid 8.
8.5.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, this is the first one. This is the third book, Matt, and it's the first one we've
You're the Commander Cold to my Barry.
Screw you. I'm not Commander Cold. You're Commander Cold.
Fine, I'll be the Commander Cold. Doesn't matter. You get in my way. I'm getting in your way. Like.
Alright, we shall move on then to Catwoman number 2. Joelle Jones, both writing and doing the art. So this continues where we left off last time. She's found this room full of Catwomen who are pretending to be her. And we know this goes back to the wife of the governor, who we introduced to last issue, the one whose nose comes off and generally looks much worse than she does on public appearances.
Looks like the Crypt Keeper when she
a little bit.
Is in public, yeah.
A little bit. I was half expecting death and murder puns from her at one point. She was so Crypt Keeper looking. I'll admit I did have to go back and check the last issue just to remind myself who some of the other characters were. The cops specifically. When we got to the cops, I was like, okay, I remember her introducing characters, but I don't remember who they were or what their deal was at all. So I had to go back and check who the cops were. And just kind of so one of them knew the cop who'd been gunned down by the fake Catwoman. Like one of them knew him, and he's the good cop who wants to know about this, and then the other guy with the goatee, he's the corrupt cop. So there we go. There's your background for context for this issue. So there was a lot more stuff in this issue I thought of Catwoman getting over the wedding. There was a lot more stuff where she can't sleep and she's pawning in a ring, but she can't pawn in that one. That one's not for sale.
Yeah.
There was a lot more little details like that really painted her as still trying to get over the fact that she didn't go through with the wedding, which is good because it makes you feel connected to the overall thing. So how do we feel about this issue though, Connor?
I think it has a nice flow to the first half, especially because it's basically the first half, give or take, is an action sequence.
Yeah, with all the Catwomen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that has a nice flow to it. I think I know we actually had some critiques of the art last time with the line work being too heavy. It feels like that's been sorted out now. It feels like a lot smoother and sleeker, more what I expect.
Out of Jones.
Yeah, and some nice layout work as well with the panels and just really having some nice momentum in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of red backgrounds there to sort of accent the hits and things.
Yeah, there's a really nice one which is just her face at the top with a red background, and then all these panels below it of the fight.
Yeah.
I do like that one quite a lot.
Yeah, she seems to be setting up this guy and the old woman who owns the place she's staying at as kind of regular supporting cast as well. And they're going with that. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it well enough. I think the ending leaves me a little bit strange. Like, I'm not really sure what it's like a cliffhanger, because at one point they say, "Oh, I hope she shows at this thing," and then at the end it's like, it's the cops there with the corrupt cop, that is, and the other guy who's I think the son
The
of
governor's
the
Yep,
governor's
the
wife.
governor's son.
The governor's son,
Yeah.
yes. The son of both. That makes sense. I don't know why I was just saying
Yes.
specifically her son.
Hmm?
I mean, it could be, but no, his name's Creel.
I think it was supposed to be a bit because will she show up? And it was
Yeah.
supposed to be like, more like the previous night with all the Catwoman, and they were going to jump her sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's just this party function.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. It leaves me on okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel that way as well.
As opposed to being excited about it, I'm just gonna okay.
Yeah, I don't know where this book's going, and that's okay, I guess, because I'll as long as Jones's art looks like this and not like the first issue, because I was ready just to drop it. I was like, oh, I gotta read Catwoman. I didn't really enjoy the first issue that much, but the stuff here, I like the supporting cast stuff, and then the stuff with the governor, I have zero idea what's going on, what the governor's wife's like in game is, but the fact that she's trying to set up her son with Selena Kyle. You know, like you have to meet, like
what's her motivation? What does she want to achieve? What is her? What's her thing? What is she? What does she do? I get that she's evil. I get that she gets her henchmen to break the hand of the Catwoman who fired the gun on the cop. But okay, so I get that she's bad, but I don't know what she's actually doing yet. Which isn't necessarily
it's like she's controlling them with drugs and stuff too. Like not like illicit drugs, but like pain stuff, because when they break the one Catwoman's hand, the imposter, they have a syringe that says this will make it all better, and it's a doctor administering it. So I don't know why all these Catwomen are being dressed up. Like they said, it's part of an art thing, which I think is just the cover. We'll see. I'm also not a big fan of this costume that she's in, and I know why they had to do it this way to make her distinct from all the other ones. But I don't think it's well designed at all.
Okay.
I've got no problem with the costume.
Nah, it's so weird. So
what do you think is weird about it?
There's no armpits. That's a weird design. I don't know. I wasn't never a fan of the Returns costume. I much like what she's been wearing with the goggles, the cat burglar version.
I get that. I'm liking the lack of goggles a bit. I think seeing the eyes helps.
Yeah, I mean, costume's not working for me. So, and I did get mixed up in the fight scenes a couple times, just because I'm so used to her in the goggles that I kept forgetting she's the one with.
You were following
the
wrong one, yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know if that was Jones' intent, but
No, I think that's more just you're attuned to look for the goggle one, and you're thinking that's your Catwoman, and then hang on, wrong one.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I'm gonna probably hang in until the end of this arc, just because I want to know what's going on with the governor. But I'm not. It's not a book that excites me like I thought it was gonna be.
I mean, I have to admit,
do like Jones enough.
Yeah, I like Jones a lot, and I have to admit, it's not as exciting to me. In the pale as I thought it was going to be.
It's a little underwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a pretty decent read, but it's definitely not one that I was rushing to before a lot of the other books this week. So that's kind of where it's sitting for me right now. Also, I love the idea of Catwoman making a statement and letting her armpits let the hair grow out, just because she's got these windows and just have tufts of hair.
I don't think the windows are that high up. I think it's a bit lower down. It's more like top of the ribs. Right? It's more just so you can stretch your arm up and down without the material restricting.
I mean,
I mean that's why I hate sleeves, so I understand it, but
I don't dislike the costume, but I definitely prefer the goggles look and some of the looks that I do this one.
Well, I like the purple costume a lot, from the 90s. Yeah. That one's pretty solid.
That's probably my favorite.
Actually, I think my least favorite part of this one is actually the gloves. I hate the gloves that only stop right at the wrists. They feel too short.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
I always like the interpretation of her. She's a cat burglar, and that's like she loves cats and whatnot, and that's why she's Catwoman. But the cat burglar is what informs her, you know.
I think
So when you just her in leather, like a dominatrix outfit, I don't know.
I think my problem with the gloves as well, actually, is that it makes the sleeves feel really noticeable. And if there's one thing that feels weird to me in a superhero outfit, is the idea of sleeves that are actually dangling and like actually.
Yeah.
It feels too casual, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, the sleeves are still pretty tight, though, aren't they?
Mhm.
So I don't think they are dangling that much.
Well, they're not dangling, but they feel at the end of a shirt as opposed to the
They've got a
end
bit of a cuff on them, yeah.
A
Yeah.
form-fitting.
Yeah. Whereas I typically think of like superheroes and villains having like, you know, like more
bodysuit.
more regimented like tight fits because they're uniforms as opposed to. And I get that Catwoman's not really a uniform because she's Catwoman and she's not like a serious hero in the same sense that the other characters are. But you know, that's kind of why I don't hate the Batgirl outfit from the Burnside stuff, but like I still prefer it when it's more of an outfit and less like a jacket, just because you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just a preference. I don't really have any great, you know, statement to make on the subject. But we should rate the book then. Catwoman issue 2. What we giving it? Connor.
A slight step up from the last issue, so I give it a 7.
Matt.
I too gave it a 7.
I shall also give it a 7. I don't remember what I gave the last issue though.
Jackpot.
Moving on then to Supergirl issue 21, the return of Supergirl solo series. And obviously Connor was maybe going to read this, but he didn't have time because it made sense not to. If he was going to cut something, to cut this one because he's not reading Bendis.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not I'm opposed to the book. I'm sure it could be very good. I'm sure you guys will tell me in a minute. But it was more just okay. This is tied into all the Bendis run. If it's gonna probably cross over quite heavily at some point, and I'm gonna be forced to read that stuff. So if there's something that I'm not going to get time to read, this was the first thing to go.
I'm sure Matt will tell you real good if it was good or not. So actually, before we just say what we thought about this, I was in a really weird place. Like I was happy Supergirl was coming back because I like Supergirl enough that I wanted to have a book. But I was kind of like, is this like a weird thing where like they're doing it out of like necessity rather than because there's like a good idea to have like a solo book? And I was in like a weird place anticipation wise for it. And that was completely unfounded because the book was fantastic. I loved it.
I do wish she had gotten the number 1 instead of it just being 21.
That's fair.
Like, I wish it was just because it really is an issue 1, and it does play back to some of the stuff that we saw in the last series.
It references
but
it,
it has nothing. But outside of her Earth family, it doesn't, or her DIdio agent family, it doesn't really have much to do with that run. So I feel like they could have been justified in making this a whole new number 1.
You know, I love that
Connor doesn't care.
I love that Connor said, "Oh, I'm sure you'll tell me in a minute if it was good or not." And then as soon as we started talking, he muted his mic and left the room.
And left, yeah.
The dick.
But
I assume you liked this as well, Matt.
Yes, I like this a whole lot. This
was good.
I like Fired Up Supergirl. This feels like pre Flashpoint Supergirl, to where she had lived on Earth for a while. She had, you know, she knew different heroes enough that she had relationships with them, and she just wasn't this newly come to Earth girl. Like she kind of felt in the last run, the Orlando issues, which were fine. I like those too, but this just felt like a return to form in the version of Supergirl that I really like.
Yeah, no, she feels like Supergirl, and I think what I like about this the most is that it has a sense of direction. Like, it feels like it's... No, she cares so much about what Rogel Zar did, and she's convinced that if he did kill Krypton, which she's not convinced, she's going to try and find that out.
Right.
But if he did, then there's no way that no one knew about this, right? So someone... There has to be some sort of conspiracy. There's no way this happens with one man on his own. So that's what she's going to look into. She's going to go into space. And this issue is mostly just her saying her goodbyes and leaving. And Clark's trying to talk her out of it, and she's like, "No, Clark, Krypton to you might be from there, but it's like, you know, it's an idea to you. Like, you don't remember it.
It's theoretical."
Yeah.
I love how she said it's theoretical to you, but I actually live there.
Yeah, she actually has memories of it. She remembers her parents. She remembers what the city looked like. She remembered all these things. And they leave in a bit of a cold place until the end, of course, when Clark kind of realizes that, you know, he can't stop her, and he sends her Krypto to keep her company and protect her with a little note.
I swear, if anything bad happens to Krypto, I'm gonna lose it.
So Supergirl being excited that Krypto's there and like hugging him and stuff. I thought the art from Kevin Maguire. I didn't even mention who wrote this. This was Marc Andreyko writing and Kevin Maguire on the art. Yeah, Kevin Maguire's art I thought was pretty solid, very expressive in places. I thought it really captured her like going through anger to sadness, like she's like determined not to cry at various points because she calls her Earth parents, her adoptive parents, and tells them that she's going away for a while not to worry, but she just leaves a message and she's like, no, I can't cry. If I cry, I'll never stop. But she ends up finally having a tear at the end when Krypto's there, and Krypto's like looking upset about it, and she's like, no, it's happy tears, Krypto. It's fine. Right. And she's leaving. So all the emotional stuff with Kara I thought was really good. I was really into her saying her goodbyes to Clark, and of course the mystery side of it is she goes to Hal. She goes to Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. She goes and gets Rogalzar's staff that they've hid under the fortress. This appears to be set before Superman issue 1, and she takes the staff to Hal and she's like, hey, can you scan this from the Green Lantern archives and see if anything comes up? It's like, well, I've already scanned the symbol, the circular symbol. And it's like, well, yeah, but can you do it again but scan the actual staff this time and see if anything comes up? And he's like, yeah, sure, but I don't think anything's going to come up. And then, as he's speaking, the ring says, oh, information on this is redacted. And he's like, huh.
Well, that's not... He goes, it shouldn't do that to me.
Yeah, that's never happened before.
Yeah. So, I like that... my one problem with the art here is this felt more like Kyle in the looks than...
I can see that.
Than Hal. But he sounded like Hal, so it was this weird, like... I'm hearing Hal, but I'm seeing Kyle with brown hair. But I mean, that's a minor thing. It's still... But I again, that's what I was referring to in the beginning, where she's familiar with the Lanterns, you know? Like, so she knows enough to be like, hey, I can go to the Green Lanterns to ask over this, you know, this weird alien staff.
Yeah, because that's actually her first port of call. She's going to see the Green Lantern Corps to investigate this redacted information. But obviously when he looks this up, we cut to this alien in space who gets flagged. Like it's almost like in like a spy movie when someone looks up someone's information and it gets flagged in like the CIA and it comes up. It's like it's like, oh, someone's looking at this. This is dangerous. This is bad. And the alien like runs off to like tell his boss, whoever it is. Someone we don't get to see. It's mysterious. We hear that if she gets too close, it's what's one more dead Kryptonian. But it's, you know, all ominous and like villainous, and it's like, okay, there's a conspiracy here. Something's going on, and Kara's coming digging. So no, I was actually like really surprised with how much I liked this. Like this was I read this right after Superman, and I was like, oh damn, like I really liked this.
Yep, definitely, and I can't wait till she gets the new costume.
Like, she gets a new costume in this one.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I can't wait to see that and see how and why.
Oh, your mate's going, Matt. Your mate's going, Matt. Danger! Make his. So yeah, she puts on because she's got the suit she's had for most of the issue, and then she goes, oh well, I'm going to be away from the sun, so this solar battery suit or whatever she calls it, will help. And the yellow in the emblem glows because it's like it's actually soaking in some solar power for later. So
I'm talking about the costume that they redesigned that's on the cover, like that costume.
Yeah, I'm not as excited about that one. I don't like that one as much, but that's one.
I just want to see the reason behind it.
Oh sure.
Because here, this makes sense. She's going into deep space, and I like that. I like that when they give Kryptonians limitations. Like, of course she can't fly.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a ring. She can't fly in a Mogo.
I do still prefer the red skirt, but this one with the blue skirt's fine, and I do like the emblem lighting up. That's kind of cool. So this is the first new suit we've got. Obviously, we know we're getting another one when she goes out of space at some point. But no, I'm intrigued by the conspiracy. It feels like it's got this plot that's thought out that we're really building towards, rather than just like wasting time for something to happen. And I really like that. So no, she's off into space to try and investigate this redacted information. So that's where we leave off. So no, pleasantly surprised. Not that I was expecting a bad issue, but like I was not expecting to be as into it as I was.
Yeah, me neither. Like, and then the Maguire art on top of it just adds like the frosting or the icing.
Yeah,
onto something that's already so good because, like you said, the expressions and just, you know, even Krypto and his tail wags. Like I love.
And the coloring was very sort of vibrant but kind of light at the same time. It had almost like it's not a million miles away from what I think an Adam Hughes sort of art would look like.
Yeah, Maguire, they're in that kind of where it's very much based off of like the style guide from the 70s, from like the Silver Age. Because I don't know if you read any of the Justice League International stuff from Geffen and Maguire.
No.
Or I can't believe it's not the Justice League. But yeah, it has the same look to it. So to me, this gave it this classic feel.
Yeah, Hal. I mean, criticisms aside, it looked a bit more like Kyle. His suit felt very Silver Age, and how simple and bold it was. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed this issue.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Without question, we'll be back for issue 22 next month. So, Supergirl comes recommend. If you're reading Bendis' run on Superman in action, this feels like almost required reading to go along with it. So, there you go.
So just a follow up to that is, would you recommend it to someone who's not reading those?
Well,
like, how connected is it?
If you have to know who Rogolzar is and why Kara's so upset. Once you get past that, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it's not because she's going to deep space. I don't see it crossing over with Superman in the near future. Like maybe down the line, a couple years from now or whatever, or storylines.
I'll give it an arc.
No. There's no way.
All right, I'll give it 2. I'll give it a year.
Oh, then that's fine. I mean, Superman is going to be moving at the same rate at this point because action's so different than Superman.
Yeah.
And then Supergirl, they're all monthly. So, But yeah, I would even say, as long as they know about Rogolzar, I would say they should read this because the characterization of Kara is top notch.
I'll try and maybe get around to it then at some point when I get some time.
So Matt, what are you rating it?
Oh, this is a 9. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
I think I concur with that score. Just I don't upset Matt that I'm picking the same number.
No,
but...
I'm not even going to argue with that one. Just, yeah.
Yeah?
That's fine. That makes sense. 9 makes sense.
All right. Well, we'll move on then to Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 50. Robert Venditti writing, Rafa Sandoval on the art. This, of course, is the final issue of this book, the final issue of Venditti's 80-plus issue run on Green Lantern. it all ends here, folks. So you two have been reading this. Go ahead. Yep.
So since Rebirth, this is the strongest Venditti's been on Green Lantern because I quit his Green Lantern books.
Like 3 times.
Yeah. And the Connors brought me back with Rebirth multiple times. So really the only thing I didn't go back and read was the Sinestro stuff just because I had enough of Venditti Sinestro.
Yeah.
So, and this is a nice culmination to everything. Like, it feels like a nice cap. We see a lot of his storylines come to an end here. But he also passes the baton at the same time. Like, the 4 Corpsemen joke is still going strong. Yeah,
but at the same time, it's kind of the end of the joke, right? It's like, okay, that's it. We're done with that for now.
But if Morrison, you never know with Morrison, right?
No, it's true.
If he wants to pick it up, or Jurgens wants to pick it up with these guys, it would feel like it's now etched into Lantern mythology.
Yeah.
That guy calls them the 4 Corpsemen. But yeah.
On that, Venditti was tweeting last night that he's actually getting to write Guy again soon in another project. I'm not sure what. I don't know if he's showing up in Hawkman maybe, or just somewhere else in a book.
More on Hawkman and how much I love that book.
Yeah, we'll get there. But I don't know where. But Guy is probably his best character. Yeah,
if he puts Guy in with Hawkman, I might explode, just because I can't handle it.
Yeah. No. I think this is a very competent, solid issue. I think it's a little underwhelming in that it does exactly kind of what you expect it to. It's here are all the things from the run, and here's the nice ending. I get it, but he
rounds off everything because I feel like the Morrison run and whatever's going on with the Lantern books going forward is going to be so different that he couldn't leave these threads hanging. It's kind of what they try to do with Green Lanterns as well, but Jurgens is doing his own self-contained story. So, I get it. It leans heavy into Tomar 2.
Tomar 2,
Tomar 2 and Hal and, and their fight.
I'd say a good half of the issue is the pair of them talking while fighting.
Yeah. And, and it props up to Tomar 2 as a threat. It's like if he makes it out, you could see him be like a thorn in the side of Hal.
And I think at the end of this one, I appreciate how natural this has felt. Like it never felt like this guy who's been a corpse for a while, right?
Mm-hmm. And at least since John's.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's been probably a good almost
10
decade
years.
by now.
Yeah.
And his turn into villain didn't feel like, oh, we'll just flick a switch. It never felt cheap, or we'll just make him a villain. It's felt pretty deserved.
Yeah.
So there's credit to that. And here at the end, it all feels natural.
Yeah. And so we get them, and they're battling, and the other half of the book is the rest of the Corps stationed outside the planet fighting the Dark Stars. And John is bound, set, and determined that they're not going to kill anybody because we're not the Dark Stars. That's what him and Hal had come to the conclusion. Like we can't fight the violence. We can't fight their brand of violence with their brand of violence because they end up winning at that point. Like it's a moral predicament or a moral fight at this point.
And Zod's not too impressed with this.
No, because God, Venditti. So I quit his New 52 Flash. I quit his New 52 Green Lanterns stuff.
Same.
But, like, give him Zod into something, because his Zod is such...
I love... There's a bit where Zod's like, nah, forget this, I'm finishing it. And he grabs one of the Darkstars and starts, heat visioning through the mask.
Yeah.
And John just comes up and, puts his ring to his head. He's like, oh, no, not on my watch, not today. And then you have Guy and Kyle come up and... And Guy's like, no, it's Kyle. Says, no, he's the general, referring to John.
Yeah, he's the general. I just love it. His Zod's such a jerk, and that's what I feel like. Everyone who's written Zod has tried to make him the Terrence Stamp version, and But here, feels like a proper comics Zod, and especially to wipe out the version from Man of Steel, that I need to be taken out. This one, I get he's a Kryptonian supremacist, like. Boom, done. And Venditti has done that so well here because he ends up kind of being the inciting incident into the Hal and Tomar 2's battle because he rushes in there and makes things difficult for Hal. So and
it just I really like all the supporting stuff going on here, like Arc just being like, hey, maybe we should kill him, because he's just like, I'm good to rip out some throats.
Yeah,
but he's not like so into it like the same way Zod is. When they say no, he backs off pretty quickly.
Right. Also, why is Orion here? He literally just shows up in the background.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. That's been the weakest part of this last 9 issues, whatever this story is. Has been Kyle going to Orion and Brent why? It was nice seeing Space Cabbie again.
Yeah.
But this is the point where I'm like, okay, this is just it's the end of the run. Here's some predictable things that we did in the run, greatest hits.
Yeah.
Oh, we did some stuff with Orion and the New Gods. Well, we should have them show up at the end. And it feels like a checklist rather than actually a natural inclusion,
but it was
like
also
Zod and Arco.
Yeah, give Kyle something to do, almost. But
kind of.
I'd rather have had him reach out to Sornik and the Yellows.
That would have been a way better. Like, even if he failed, having him go there and try would have worked a lot better.
So that's my one knock. But that's more against the whole arc than this one issue. But we get in the final moments that Zod storms in. He's gonna take his vengeance on Tomar 2 for his dad slipping up about Krypton and letting it go kaboom. Which, in what we've learned with Superman, like, if Zod finds out Rogol Zar's out there and Zar had destroyed Krypton, what is that going to mean?
It's going to mean war, presumably.
Right. So that adds this whole thing, because we're seeing what he's willing to do to the security guard that fell asleep at the watch, where he's going to exact blood vengeance on his son.
Yeah.
What's he going to do to the guy that claims he blew it up? So I like that it's building to their, but Tomar 2 ends up basically taking himself out after Hal breaks through the defenses, or Hal and Zod, and he fires up the gauntlet and takes his own life. And
he blasts himself with it. So Zod doesn't get that
satisfaction.
Justice. Yeah. He's actually really annoyed. He's like, oh, at least let him bleed out slowly. He deserves to suffer.
Right.
And but at the end, he's kind of satisfied. He's like, all right, my people are avenged. That'll do. He is dead.
Yeah, he's gonna go back to his planet and do
his thing that he's been doing up there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we get a nice send off from the Corps and Hal and the rest of the Earth Lanterns. Well, the four corpsmen, because Simon and Jess aren't there.
Yeah.
But they all talk about what things they have to do.
Yeah.
And
And then we got a little kid of
it's the Zudarian that took over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Summer Lee. We got
Somewhere
from that one issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, we've seen her pop in and out, and Kilowog's kind of taking her under his wing, and whatnot. So it's like the next generation of Lanterns there that she represents, because she's the first kid Lantern.
Yeah.
Like, they don't go that young. So the Earth Lanterns all say kind of goodbye, and it's kind of Venditti send off to each of them, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, like they're all going to go off and do their own thing. Guy just wants everyone to go get a drink, and Cal's like, yeah, I'm going to go do some drawing, and then Hal's like, nah, I got shit to do.
Yep. And Guy's like, yeah, I look forward to meeting some new slingers, and you see Mogo redirecting all these lantern rings now.
Yeah, John gives the speech to send them back out, and then like, all right, let them go, and you see them all show up. So we'll get a nice influx of new ring slingers in the near future, I assume.
Yep. And then Hal, you see him on Earth in Coast City, and he knocks on a door, and Carol, who I forgot was even a character, because she hasn't really done anything since the Johns run,
Yeah, she's not really. This last couple of pages feels really out of place, because it ends with them kissing, and it just says never the end.
But they weren't, as far as I read in the Venditti run, they were never really together. It wasn't like he was like, I need to get this done so I can get back to Carol. So
they were off and on near the start, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This feels a bit like, just because this is a classic Hal Jordan thing, right? Let's put that back in place for the next writer. It felt a little cheap to end on that.
And it's forced, because there's nothing to it. Like, I'd rather have seen use these 2 pages to show rings showing up to new planets.
Honestly, I don't even know if you need anything here. Like, just have those the 4 of them on the page before. Just extend that slightly and just end on the 4 of them together.
Yeah,
because that's what this run, at least in Rebirth, has been about. It's been about these 4.
Right.
So I feel like it should have ended with that. And I know Hal's name's in the title, but I feel like ending on just him does a disservice to the rest of them.
Yeah, but I mean, pretty solid run for Venditti. Rebirth. On, because we got some fun stuff sprinkled throughout, like you said with Space Cabbie. You have the Guy and Arkillo friendship and
fights.
And fights, where he rips out his eye.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. I'm curious to see where it goes now with Sharp and Morrison. So
yeah, definitely.
But what would you rate this issue?
I'm going to give it a 7.5. It's very good. It's very solid. Does pretty much exactly what it's supposed to, but it suffers from being a little too predictable.
Yeah, see, I liked it a bit more. I'm going to give it an 8, because I liked... Again, I don't think the predictability doesn't kill it for me, because we knew it was ending. So, but I've liked the sense of hope that it has with these new lanterns and where it's going off to. So yeah, that was...
I will just say, finally the best panel from this is Hal punching Tomatu, and it's all the fists. You have him make all these fists to punch him at the same time, and it's like, okay, that's such a Hal construct. Just a million fists.
Yeah.
Oh, we're done.
It's nice.
Yeah. That's it.
Right. I was just getting comfortable because, hungry and tired and sleepy and everything.
Yeah. Well, we're going through. We got 6 more books left, so
we do.
Halfway.
The hunger.
Wait, is it really 6? I just threw out a stupid number.
I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
2, 4. No, there's 5. There's 5 left.
Wow, it's off by 1.
There you go. It's not bad. Not bad. All right, we'll go to Titans number 24. Dan Abnett writing. Brent Peeples on the art. So once again, we have the Titans crew going out to an anomaly that's happening because of the source wall breaking and all the energy spilling out. And we get this really unique well, kind of unique. It's basically there's this this old man in the park who he was a teacher and he used to run like D&D campaigns for his students after class. But before all that, he tried his hand at writing some books. He wrote some fantasy novels. And the villains that show up, that at first I thought these feel like really generic villains, ended up being like intentional, because the point was that they were actually the villains from his fantasy books that came to life, because he got hit with this meta power and all of his creations were starting to come to life and attack. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's unique.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm kind of into that. Okay.
Cool. If this is what we're going to get more of them going and finding these people, and we're going to get these new kinds of powers like this, where this guy basically creates a pocket dimension where his books are reality and he interacts with them, and they're not actually villains, right? They're just so when the Titans go and meet this invading force, they claim that Earth's invading their realm, and they're just defending it. And, so we get some fun fight scenes, but overall, it's like they're just kind of going through the motions. And they send Raven and who else to go talk with the old guy.
Miss Martian, I think, was it not?
And Miss Martian, yeah. So to deal with it that way while they handle all these creatures that are out. And the one part that I really loved is when one of the creatures sees the old guy that created him and treats him like he just saw, like, not a celebrity, but like a demigod.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look who it is. Like, it was so cool. And Beast Boy doing, his quips.
Yeah, because at one point, like, an evil unicorn comes out the portal. Yep. So Beast Boy's like, oh, two can play this game. And we get, like, unicorn duel with the horns.
Yeah. There's also some Lord of the Ring disparaging going on, which I'm, not adverse to.
Yeah, and also, so the main dude, though, the main sort of villainous dude that comes out, the creation, he kind of
Travesty.
Was that his name?
Yeah, Prince Travesty.
There you go.
I will not forget that name.
So, Prince Travesty, you're right. And he sort of like says, "Oh, people here are so beautiful," and he's looking at Raven and Nightwing at this point, right? And then later down this same page, this book legitimately made me laugh out loud. At the bottom of this page, because he realizes that Raven can kind of read minds, and he's like, "You're reading my mind? What am I thinking now?" And she's like, "Oh God, that is the filthiest thing I've ever." And Nightwing yells out, "That's it, back off." And then Raven yells out, "How dare you imagine Nightwing in that sort of position?" And Nightwing's like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, and right before that, Nightwing goes, "Oh God, it's like being clubbed to death with a Similarian." And I was just like, "Oh my God, that's what it's like watching those movies for me."
Yeah, it really made me laugh, because the joke works really well, because you assume that she's offended because she's seen herself in some sort of weird sex thing.
Yeah, no,
and
but it's Nightwing.
How dare you think of Nightwing like that? And Nightwing's like, "What? What's he thinking? What's happening?"
Yeah.
So no, that was really good. That was really funny. And like I say, the action here's pretty good. There's like moments they try to talk to the old man, and then like more things keep coming at them, and like Steel just sort of like swoops down and like whacks something with a big hammer.
Yeah, that's always fun.
And it's fun. Yeah. And the big twist at the end of the issue, though, and this one has a bit more lasting impact than the last issue.
Yeah.
Because they think they've closed it, they think they've dealt with it, and taken it from his mind. But it turns out Prince Travesty is actually like taking place of Raven. Raven's now trapped in the pocket dimension, and Prince Travesty is hanging out at the writer's apartment. So, which is actually, it's good, because Raven felt a little bit weird, like at the end of this, when they thought they'd solved everything, and Raven's talking to them. Our dialogue just felt a little bit off, and I was like, oh, it's whatever. It's just, Abnett's just made a bit of a flub. But no, much like the Bendis issue of Superman, it's intentional, because then we find out that that it's not actually her. She swapped places with the evil dude.
Yeah.
So there's a lasting effect here. We actually do have this villain lingering. And Raven's trapped in a pocket dimension, so obviously we're going to have to deal with that. But it's good stuff.
It weirdly reminded me of John's first run on Flash, with both the pocket dimension and then the fantasy dimension with Brother, what's his name, Brother Grimm. So like it feels like it's rooted in that kind of character, and I'm all for that. I like those types that break from the traditional villain. So, and this guy doesn't seem like he's a straight up villain. He seems like he's chaotic, but he's neutral. Like we'll see where it goes. I definitely see him being a thorn in the side.
Oh yeah.
But,
well, they're definitely going to be happy that he swapped places with Raven and left her trapped in a pocket dimension. That's for sure. But no, I had fun with this. I mean, these 2 issues since with this sort of relaunch, if you will, of Titans has been good fun. Them being this crew that goes out in response to these things, and if they're starting to add in more serialized elements, like Miss Martian trying to gain Nightwing's trust, like now Raven being trapped in this pocket dimension, this villain's still out and about. I'm like, okay, I'm having fun with this. It's not necessarily the most like exciting book of the week or anything like that, but it's like I had fun reading it. I was excited to read it. So
yeah, I like this one more than the last one, and this was the one that's going to keep me reading to see where it's going to go. But yeah, no, this one was just a lot of fun. So if we're going to get more of these, then yeah, keep it coming.
And that was pretty solid as well, I thought.
Yeah, that was. So, I mean, Beast Boy turning into a unicorn to fight an evil unicorn, like, come on. So
it's good. So what'd you rate it? What'd you rate Titans?
It's a solid 7.5.
I'll go with an 8. I'll go a little bit higher. I'll be a touch more on the positive side. And then me and Matt aren't having the same ratings constantly. Alright, well that'll take us on to Hawkman number 3, Robert Venditti writing Bryan Hitch on the art. I didn't actually get around to this one this week. This and Wonder Woman were the 2 that I was going to try and get to, but didn't quite make it. But you 2 have read it, because you 2 were in love with the last issue, so...
and you are missing out on some immense fun, because this opens with him fighting a T-Rex.
Yep.
I mean, what more do you want?
That's different artist and writer.
No, see, Venditti, I've been overly harsh. I won't say overly, because some of it's been needed. I've been harsh on Venditti in the past, but I feel like he's hit his groove here with Hawkman.
I feel like when he lands, he really lands, because I've been really enjoying the stuff that landed of his Green Lantern stuff. I loved. Some stuff not so great. I really enjoyed his Exo Manowar stuff at Valiant a few years back.
I've heard that's good.
That was really good. But then obviously his New 52 Flash was awful.
Not so good. But I think that's more of a symptom of the New 52, and they're trying to change Flash so much that it just didn't work. Here though, again, he's fighting a T-Rex, but he's doing it in a way where he's not trying to hurt the Rex, because he knows like the Rex is just looking for food. Yeah. So he's basically just trying to keep it at bay to wear it down, so it realizes like, hey, I'm not an easy lunch, and so he's jumping off
into
a
tree, so it'll just leave him alone.
And because he's in this jungle on Dinosaur Island, he can't fly, and so he's having to use his wits to him. And he has a scepter from the last issue, and he has his mace, so he's using them in conjunction, which looks cool. Like
the art for the most part I really like, actually. There is one moment where he's found the T-Rex. It's just on the page where he smashes the T-Rex into the tree. Some weird contortion going on with his body in one panel.
I think there's some more of that too when he fights the flying
there might
people.
Be it's not often, it's just every so often there's just he doesn't quite look right.
But so he deals with the T-Rex, and he's heading up towards this mountain. And he has this calling on Dinosaur Island to the top of this mountain. That's where he runs into. They're called Featherins.
Yeah, Featherins.
Featherins, something along those lines. Which they're people, but instead of being descended from apes, it looks like they're descended from birds. And I looked them up, and pre-Flashpoint, they showed up with Black Adam, because he had like the hawk-headed people. They were one of them. Yeah, right. So I think that was in JSA. But basically, they ran into some issues with their homeland being destroyed, so Black Adam opened conduct to them. So these ones look different, though. These look like people, but with wings, like on their arms and stuff.
Yeah,
almost like
the
Tengu.
wings kind of grow out of their arms, don't they?
Yeah. They're like the Japanese mythological creature, a Tengu.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they're flying around, and he's trying not to fight them, but they keep coming. So we get some cool aerial battle stuff, but like Connor said, some of the positions are a little bit off.
Yeah,
but...
nice new addition, though. At one point, they knock his mace out of his hand. and it comes back.
So I have a big stupid smile on my face because what did this remind you of, Connor?
I mean, it's Thor, right?
Right? It's
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah. We've just gone, okay, let's just make him Thor.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
His mace goes to drop, and he goes, "Oh no, my mace!" And then it comes back to him, and now he starts throwing the mace, and it comes back, and that's how he battles these bird people. And he says every time they fall, they just kind of disappear. And then when we find out, he fights them all. He gets to the top, and there's this old like shaman, Faith Aaron, and he's like, "Oh, I've been told by my grandfather, since the time of my grandfather's grandfather, that a Hawkman would come back to us, and I've been waiting here for ages." And then he kind of just disappears. It becomes like the ether.
Yeah,
So
he makes a point of saying, who left you here to guard this mountain?
Right.
And he was like, oh yeah, you said you might not remember that. With each life you lose some more memory, but it was you, but not you. And he's like, but I'm sure you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah, there's a really nice bit of writing that there, because it reminded me a lot of Yoda, because it was you, but it wasn't you, but you would say that you would remember that, like. But did he just commit genocide? Did he take out this entire tribe of Faith Aarons?
I think so.
Okay, I'm just checking if that's.
But
all
it sounds
right.
like they were there to guard it just as a challenge, like only he'd be able to get through, right?
Right.
So,
but,
I assume there's other. Is it genocide if they still exist elsewhere?
Well, I'm just saying of this particular tribe because it saved
this particular tribe, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You'd think even in his older form, whenever Form came to Dinosaur Island and told the shaman he would return, you would think there'd be a better way than just murdering every warrior in that tribe. But hey,
yeah.
I'm not Carter Hall, so who am I to know? But he goes into this cave, and the shaman had told him he would need that Hawk Scepter for the next part. And so he gets into the cave, and it looks like almost like a spaceship. Like, it's rounded, and it's not stone. It looks more like metal.
And there's this pedestal in the middle, and it's got the symbol with the hawk on it that he has on his chest. And so he snaps off the head of the scepter and kind of places it into the hole, and it activates like a planetarium.
Yep, and you
have
see
all these constellations.
But they're not of Earth. Like, they're different. And it's a legend of the 7 sons, right? And the 7 daughters?
7 brothers and 7 sisters.
7 brothers and 7 sisters. And so I'm wondering if that has to do with him and his resurrections.
Then he says, and the first great hero, Calmaran, I remember. And that sounds like, okay, that could be one of his
identities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the issue ends with someone yelling at him, and
he kind of gets he holds his head and goes, "Oh, not again!" And then there's like this teleport thing that happens again.
Yeah, and he's on Thanagar, and he's being told to move by none other than Qatar Hole, his Thanagarian version.
I did like the final caption. They're done in the diary entry style, still left over from Metal, and it's "Why am I never happy to see me?"
Yep.
Give me a good chuckle. I was like, yeah, I'm so into this.
Oh, me too.
This book is so good.
Like, he was fighting a dinosaur, he becomes Thor. Like, Venditti's just like, oh, every bad thing you've said about me since Flash, I'm going to try to erase it the best I can.
He's making a damn fine effort as well.
Yeah, it's very pulpy. It hits every beat that I love.
Yeah.
So, I can't, oh, man.
This is probably the book I'm having the most fun with right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's the best book, but it's the most fun.
Yeah, definitely. This will be one that I'll collect and trade to go with my singles. Like, this is one physical single that I'm not going to give up. Like,
can't get rid of that.
That's what I'm making room for. Like, yeah. So, but if I'm rating it, I'm rating it high, and it's a 9. I thoroughly enjoyed this issue.
I'm going with the 9 too. It's so good.
Look at that. God damn it, I gotta adjust so Connor doesn't match me either.
We never match.
I know. But yeah, Hawkman. Pete, you should be reading it.
Missing out.
I didn't have time this week. I was just reading. Apparently, someone stole a plane from a Seattle airport this morning.
Yeah, that was last night. That was news going out. Apparently, guy was suicidal. And then stole a plane and crashed into an island.
That could get very serious very quickly. Someone stealing a plane like that.
How do you manage to steal a plane?
So he was a mechanic.
Yeah, with lots of planning and preparation, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And skill and knowledge, but yeah, so glad no one else got hurt. I was just reading about that there. It was
it's still a tragedy. And,
oh sure, yeah, but
and whatnot, but it could have been way worse than it was. No one was on the plane.
Yeah,
I assume it was a relatively small plane.
Look at this. I heard it was a commercial liner.
Yeah, I think it was a huge plane actually.
Really?
Yeah, which is why it's even weirder. It's not just like a little plane. It's like.
Let's see what.
Oh, Connor's audio's went. He's went on mute.
Have I?
Oh, you did for a second there. You kind of cut out in mid-sentence.
Oh, weird.
How odd. Anyway, we're going to move on. As Connor's checking up planes. So, moving on to Plastic Man. Number 3, Yellow Bryan is going to be a damn hero. He was bluffing with the bad guys, the Cabal, to try and save the kid. But they don't buy it. So he has to go all superhero and start fighting them properly. And meanwhile, the girls from the strip club are investigating to see that this person is supposedly murdered. They're looking into that and they're trying to figure that out. Matt, you're reading this. Everyone's reading this.
No, I didn't have time for this
read
one.
it? Oh, Carl, did you read it?
I saved it for last.
I read it, yeah.
Oh, good. Someone read it other than me. Nice.
No, I read it because this following Hawkman, this was another one where I'm like, okay, that's a fun book. I want my dose of.
Sure.
That I got to earlier in the week before the priority books for whatever reason.
Right. So did you enjoy this, Azure?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Continuing the trend, some fun action stuff. We've got some nice shape changing antics going on. This book proves to be very inventive with its shapes.
There's a whole Harley sequence where he's trying to impress Man-Bat with going through various iterations of Harley Quinn, and he's like, no pants, long pants, no pants, long pants, but nothing.
Yeah,
and he's basically switching. He's switching between the classic animated Harley Quinn and the Suicide Squad movie Harley Quinn, in the blink of an eye. It's just fun stuff. It's fun stuff. And what's Sammy, the guy who betrayed him? He once he learns about Plastic Man, he's got this girlfriend singer who he's trying to get to sing in a club, and she looks the part. She's got the glamorous dress on, she's got the big hair, and then she starts singing, and everyone's like, there's glasses shattering at the bar because she's that bad.
I really appreciate whenever there's singing, you always get the music notes. That's a common thing in comics, but here the music notes are all like squiggly and shattered to give it that effect of just no, it's awful.
They're distorted, But he actually at the end he brings her to Ace Chemicals and tries to recreate how Plastic Man got created. He's like, "Hey, honey, if this doesn't work, I'm sorry," and then he shoots her next to the chemicals. That's how we end the issue. It's super dark.
It is.
It's like he wants to do it.
Why we're laughing.
He clearly wants to do it to himself, but he's testing it on her first, just to make sure it works. So
I feel like that this is going to end badly because if it does work, she's going to hate him and come after him, and she's going to have powers.
Yeah.
It's a really ill thought out plan.
So during the fight at the start, though, Plastic Man's fighting all the bad guys, and he actually grabs the girl and holds her in the air, up really high. He stretches his arm out, so he's holding her really high in the air. But he gets zapped with these shockers. That I actually really like the effect when he gets zapped with this at full force. You get all these sort of spikes coming out of his face. It's a really nice touch. But I
did appreciate when he was lifting up the girl. This rescue is so wang.
Yes. There's a lot of wanging and things going on in this issue.
God, Simone is determined to get that over.
It's so wang. But then he notices his hand. He's like, "Shit! I dropped the girl," and he starts fighting. He fights more and more, and he gets really worried that he turns into a big hammer. He's fighting them with various stretchy
when we
effects.
say turns into a hammer, we mean his head is the hammer's head as well, not like it turns his hands into hammers.
Oh no, his entire body. Yes, the body of the hammer is his body, and then the head is his head.
Yeah,
he's just done a hammer. But the heartwarming thing here is that Man-Bat actually saves the kid from falling to her death, and brings the kid in, and he's all thankful, and it's like, oh, this is kind of neat. This is almost like, because this is set in the past, so it's almost like a nice little foreshadowing that Man in Bat will be a good character later. This is the start of his heroic turn, I guess. So that's kind of neat. Again, the art is really good. I mean, I never mentioned actually. Gail Simone wrote this, and Adriana Melo did the art. I mean, it's consistent with the previous issues, but it's so expressive. That close up of Eel's eyes at one point with his goggles on, where he's just like, "I'm rubber and you're the glue." Like he's talking about the villains. He's coming for them. And then of course he does the stilt walk with the kid, because of course he does.
It does, and to try and cheer her up, does butt face.
And does butt face, yeah, yeah. And the
then
kid
she says, "Stop, you gross wang."
Yes.
So wang is an insult as well as something can be wang.
Well, it feels like wang's one of those words that can just mean anything.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the F word.
It is, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and he changes into a fancy suit because he's getting serious now.
Hang on, you've missed the fact that he gets bored of the stilt and turns into a pony.
I'm sorry, yes, I glossed over the pony, and the kid's so embarrassed. It's just pulling her hood down over her face. Like, this is so embarrassing. This is humiliating.
It's like My Little Pony style pony with the big massive eyes and like sparkles coming out of it.
But in Plastic Man colours, because Plastic Man.
Yeah.
And he's in talks with the agent who was trying to recruit him, and she's like, "Oh, we've got a list of potential suspects that are behind the cabal, but we don't know for sure." And there's a bunch of recognisable names on there. Vandal Savage, Blockbuster, Cheetah's on there, Black Manta, bunch of normal, faces. And but it gets back to the strippers or the dancers, and they're like, yeah, but we looked into this, and there was some weird alien writing in one of the photographs that the witness had from the murder scene. So they believe that you didn't kill anyone, but they're helping investigate. There's a really neat little line here where the kid says, "You keep calling me her, and I haven't decided yet," which I thought was an interesting little inclusion.
Yeah, and his response, "Hey kid, be what you want. Be what you want. That's what I do."
Yeah,
I mean. We've seen him do whatever the hell he wants for 3 issues here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a neat touch. The kid might just be at that right age that maybe they're thinking about that. And
so as right now they're non-binary.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot more of that representation in comics. I think it was even Gail Simone and Batgirl.
Yes.
Yeah, the roommate.
Roommate was trans. So
yeah.
It makes sense that Simone's
making it a personal effort, clearly.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and what better character to broach that subject with than Plastic Man?
Yeah, Plastic Man.
No, it's true. We have 2 pages at the start where he is Harley Quinn. Right?
Yeah, he can literally shift gender to his heart's desire whenever he wants.
Right.
So, and then we get the ending with the Ace Chemicals thing. So that was the issue. I'm still having a blast with this, but I think Simone's sense of humor for the character. And this sort of heroic journey where he's like, you know what? I've always taken the easy way out. I've always not given a shit. Now I'm going to give a shit. Like it's not that original a story, but it's working really well for Plastic Man and our
because it's got all that comedy as well that stops it. Because this could be a really dry, boring story. Because like you say, we've seen it before, but it's the comedy that gives it its edge.
And it's all really pulpy. I think having villains who are called Sammy and wear zoot suits and they have clubs with classic, big lounge singers and all that. I feel like it fits the pulpy noir tone that we're going for here, and I think that works. So, no, I'm having a blast. What are you rating it, Connor?
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I can concur with that. Give it an 8 too. There you go. So we'll move on then to Suicide Squad number 45, which we don't normally cover, but of course this is the crossover issue with Aquaman this month. This is the first part of the story. It's co-written by Dan Abnett and Rob Williams, and art by Jose Luis.
Yeah, I did check the credits page specifically because I was intrigued. Williams is still doing all the script. It was just the story credit is shared between them.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll alternate next week for Aquaman.
Yeah, it'll be Abnett, because it's his book.
Yeah. To be expected. This is uncommon, but occasionally there's some differences, so I thought it was worth checking.
So I'll tell you the one reason why I don't like reading Suicide Squad.
Yes.
And that's the amount of satin anus jokes that Harley Quinn makes in this.
I did not have a problem with.
I did not have a problem with that either.
1 or 2 is fine. But when it kept happening, I was just like, this is why I don't read this. This is why I don't read Deadpool.
No, but here's the thing, Matt. I don't feel like this was constant Satan anus jokes, right?
Anytime she talked to Satanis, it was.
No,
and then she apologizes.
Matt, you're saying that she's cracking a joke over and over. I don't think she is. She's just decided his name is Satanis, and that's what she calls him every time. It's like a nickname he doesn't want, and she keeps calling him that. To me, that makes sense.
But it's not funny.
I mean, I got a good chuckle out of it, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well,
I got a chuckle the first time. She's like, oh, her name's Satanis, a Deadshot. You heard that? And then she just keeps calling him that, and I'm just like, okay, it beat it into the ground. And I was like, okay, cool. After this, I do not have to read Suicide Squad anymore. So,
I mean,
there's like,
is this not a 4-issue crossover?
I don't know. I can't remember how many.
So I'll have to read one after this. Then whatever. But it's only because I like Hawkman that much.
Also, Satanis, not Satanis. Just for the
Satin.
record.
No, it's Satin is Satin.
No, it's not. It's A.
S-A-T-I. Mine said S-A-T-I-N.
It's S-A-T-I-N.
Satin.
His name's Satanis. It's two
It
A's.
is
Yes.
Satanis. No, I agree with what his name is, Satanis.
Right.
But she is saying S-A-T-I-N.
Yes.
Oh, so she is. That's less funny. I thought it was funnier when it was Satan's anus.
Right. Satan's anus, that would have made me laugh.
I thought that was
Right?
funnier.
But Satin anus, and I'm just like, okay, once is fine, but now you're just... And I just... Suicide Squad just doesn't
it's the
work
sort of
for
thing
me.
that, for me, feels consistent with Harley Quinn, where I experienced her elsewhere, which was always a big problem with Suicide Squad, where she felt like a completely different character.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with this. I mean, maybe I get that you can just not like that version of Harley Quinn, but at least it feels consistent.
I didn't have a problem with it because I didn't feel like she was cracking a joke. I didn't feel like it was beating me over the head with a joke. I just felt like, no, that's what she's going to call him, and that's it. It's not a joke anymore. It's just what she's calling him.
Yeah, it's a bit of both, right? Because she accepts that she was just joking around.
I had way more
when he gets really
problems with
upset
the fact
about
that
it.
he looked like Magneto than I did anything else.
Yeah, that was bothering.
There's that. There's Master Jailer makes... That character, I get it. It's cool. You can't keep... Like, there's no lock he can't undo. Then why is he the jailer? Why isn't he the Master Breaker?
Hey. The master of unlocking is Jill Valentine. Thank you very much. Let's not get this wrong.
Okay, sure. What? Sure.
Connor knew that joke was coming. He could see it coming a mile off.
Yeah.
But then again, these are just issues that I have with Suicide Squad as a whole.
No, I think you're right in general. That is indicative of Suicide Squad, where they're like, well, no one really matters, so we'll just pull in random shit to do whatever we need for that story.
Oh, so they can be killed.
Right, and that's fine. I just was like, that's that name. And I know he's a character that's been established in DC continuity and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, he is.
The name just doesn't make any sense. You know, like, he's not jailing anybody. He's breaking and entering. Like, that's actually a pretty cool villain, you know, to have, right? You can't keep him out. So
I want to just reiterate that Satan's anus is much funnier, and it should have been Satan anus.
Pete, I agree.
I'm not disputing that.
Because what's a Saturn anus? What's a Saturn anus? Saturn doesn't have an anus.
That's supposed to be the point. It's satin. It's soft, right?
Right.
Like the material's like, oh yeah, no, you got a soft anus, right? That's what she's saying.
That's a prison nickname.
It is yeah, exactly.
I'm just so you used to watch Grounded for Life, Pete, right?
Yes.
One of the things that always stuck out to me is when one of the younger kids starts hanging out with a bad crew, and they make their own tattoos with permanent ink, and one of them has he thinks that it says Satan with a heart around it, and Uncle Eddie goes to him, he's like, "Oh, so you really like Satin, huh?" Because the kid spelled it Satin. So this is what this reminded me of. I was like, I'd much rather be watching Grounded for Life.
I'll tell you, the one thing I did like about the Suicide Squad characters is I kind of like that Killer Croc. I don't know why, because I've not been reading the book, but he's depressed for some reason, and I thought that was kind of amusing.
By the sound of it,
Enchantress, from what I got.
Yeah, I think he had a thing with Enchantress, and she's been killed.
I just think sometimes it's cracking me up about him just being like, nothing matters anymore. Just tell me what you want me to do is fine. Like him being mopey was just kind of funny to me. I don't know. They end up riding a big whale into Atlantis. So basically, Atlantis has risen. That happened in Aquaman, as we know. And the government is like, you know, yelling at each other, trying to figure out what to do about this. Are they a threat? Are they not? And Amanda Waller, of course, is going to do this off the book with the Suicide Squad, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to give you a magic thing, a magic bomb that's going to sink Atlantis again." Obviously, the big reveal at the end is because Deadshot's got a problem. He doesn't kill kids, and he sees like all these kids hiding in Atlantis, and people who, because I think maybe one of the more interesting things of this issue is the idea that there's actually certain people in Atlantis who are scared of the fact that they're on the surface now, and there's these people hiding underwater because.
Well, that's it. Because the ninth triad, it only
Ninth
rose
Triad-
so much. The ninth triad stayed underwater, which
yeah,
I
but-
think really works thematically with the rest of the run.
Oh sure, but
It does.
no, what I mean is specifically they mention that there's people who were up top who came down to the ninth, like they're seeking
Right.
refuge down there now because they're terrified of
With
being
us-
up top.
Yeah, no,
With us
exactly.
Hadlin, it's because Aquaman, who's like, well, I'm not. So they're Mara's going to be coronated, as we see, because she went out from we saw in Aquaman and Mara, but Arthur doesn't want to distract from that, so he's like, I'm just going to kind of stay down here. And then Volko makes the comment. He's like, yeah, a lot of people are starting to come down from the Ninth Triad because it's risen, and Aquaman's like, yeah, who knew that so many people wanted to be around us Hadlin scum? That's one of the things I picked up on as I was skimming it.
And Aquaman doesn't want to be involved in the ceremony, which, by the way, I actually think the art looks the best at the ceremony. Like Mira in her big fancy dress, and the Widowhood are there.
I don't really have a problem with the art though. I don't think it's rarely stand out good, but it's solid.
I think that's my point. Is I think that those two pages are particularly solid.
Do you know one of my real problems with this book, in concept more than anything, is I appreciate as a crossover, it doesn't just feel like a Suicide Squad issue, right? It does feel relatively even between them.
Yeah, it does. It feels equal an Aquaman issue, yeah.
My problem is the coronation really should be happening in Aquaman. That feels like a kick in the teeth to anyone who
Yeah, but with Abnett, it's kind of like what CW did with the crossovers this last time, where it didn't feel like each one was an episode.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, which I just prefer. For the TV shows, I think that's better.
No, I agree.
But I kind of do agree with Connor that all of this stuff happened. So let's just say you're like, well, I'm not going to read Suicide Squad, but I'll read the Aquaman and make up the difference in my head. Yeah. You're missing the coronation, which is
and also, as much as the art for the coronation is pretty good, I feel like not having it in Aquaman style that we've established takes something away from it a little bit.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Dolphin still looks good. Her whole ragamuffin.
Sure.
Yeah, Dolphin always looks good.
Got
a dolphin fetish going on here apparently between you two. So the big twist there is Deadshot's like, I'm going to make sure I know what this magic bomb is before we set it off because I'm not putting kids in danger. Amanda Waller lies all the time, and it turns out she especially lied here because it's not a magic bomb at all. It's just a nuke.
Yeah, she's gonna take out Atlantis.
It's just a
classic
goddamn
Waller.
nuke. Yeah.
Classic Waller. Classic Waller.
I like how we can say that like unironically though. Like okay, she wants to nuke. Yeah, that's classic.
I do love having her as this. She should not have a job in the government by now, but she just, by the skin of her teeth, she just hangs on because she's one of the.
She is the one. She is the one thing in the DC universe that makes me think it might be Trump that's the president. Is that she still has a job? In fact, I'm surprised he's not sending her down to the border just to sort of have her stand there.
Yeah. No, she's there though. They let her get away with it because they need someone as a scapegoat, right? If shit goes bad and anything gets caught out, it's Waller's fault. It's all her. She went off book.
That's what makes me really want So I would love Rucka to come back and do Wonder Woman again, but him redoing Checkmate, and Checkmate's a check on Waller, but she doesn't know about it.
That'd be cool.
So it's their job to go undo all the things that she thinks she's doing. So I think that would be a whole lot of fun.
That's interesting. One of the officials is the guy from the early Aquaman stuff, which was kind of cool. It's a nice throwback, and I'm pretty sure because there's different ambassadors and stuff at the coronation. At one point there's a woman who I think is the Navy officer from the early of the run as well. So that was a nice little touch. It was nice to, because given that this crossover is essentially the end of Abnett's Aquaman run, it's nice that there's some pullbacks that feel natural to the early stuff.
I think we got a little bit more after this, right?
Yeah, but not with Abnett.
No,
there's going to be some fill-ins before Kelly Sue, right?
Oh, I thought we had one Abnett arc still.
Not an arc. It may have an issue or two, but
an issue. But we don't have a date for the Kelly Sue stuff yet. So I thought we had like a short thing.
But I think it's going to be like Wonder Woman, where we're going to have a bunch of fill-ins Hopefully, no Jason.
I don't
God, I
know.
came across the
What does
issue
it?
as I was.
What does the
it made me
October
mad.
solicit have? Does it,
I'm checking.
that's the last thing we've got solicited.
That's Abnett.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of Abnett afterwards.
Yeah. It says the Road to Drowned Earth starts here because that's doing the crossover with Justice League, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So it's this crossover and it's Justice League crossover.
Yeah, and then because Drowned Earth, the Justice League story sets up Kelly Sue's run.
Yes, so there's not much. Like, it's definitely these crossovers at the end of his run. So,
yeah.
Given that they're kind of functioning both as the end of a run and the setup for the next thing, it's nice that some of the elements from the early of the run are kind of just, being sprinkled in here.
Yeah, even that the general that we see, who wants to take out Atlantis and is all hostile, he was the one from when Aquaman was, captured, way back in the start.
Which was one of the weaker parts of the run, but like it's still nice that it's just calling back to it. It makes it feel all connected.
Yeah, because he was the guy with the Aquamarines, right?
Yes.
Like he was on started that, yeah.
So no, So yeah, it was a little bit mixed because of the Suicide Squad stuff, but as an issue of Aquaman, as part of the Aquaman story, I liked all the stuff with those characters.
Yeah.
So and I like the ending. I like Deadshot kind of questioning the Order because he doesn't kill kids. I like that well enough to.
Yeah.
Also, I know I'd seen some people questioning earlier in the week because in our circles, no one really reads Suicide Squad. Going, what was going on with Katana following some of the other stuff earlier, and is she still been on Suicide Squad? This it sounds like she has been because they mentioned that she's been around recently.
Yeah, but not now.
But not right now, for whatever reason.
And obviously, she was always a check, right? She was always there in case somebody their soul taken.
Yeah, because Katana's not a villain. She was kind of there as the one who was there to keep an eye on them. Because it mentions that Waller did something really bad to Rick Flag. No idea what. Not been reading. But it sounds like Katana might have been more like doing what he was doing afterwards with the team.
But she has been around recently because they do mention her. They're just not right now.
Well, she's moving on to better things over with Batman and the Outsiders. So
the Outsiders, yeah,
that's cool. Thank you very much. All right, so let's rate it then. Matt, what are you giving it?
That was 6.5. Again, I skimmed it though, so it might have been better, might have been worse, but
Connor, what are you giving it?
I'll give it a 7. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree with a 7. I don't think it's a bad issue by any means. Although it'd be a 7.5 if it was Satan Ennis, just for the record. So
Pete learned that when you skim the second time, make sure to check for an A, not an I.
Well, no, this is the thing though. I saw Satan Ennis because I thought that's what the joke was, and then every time I saw it after that, I just read Satan Ennis. That's what I saw.
Right, because his name is Satanus. You would think.
Yes. You would. Yeah.
There was a natural progression to my logic, but
yeah, I get you.
That'll take us on to our final book of the week. This is Sideways issue 7. DIdio writing. Kenneth Rocafort's back on art. Matt, did you read this issue?
I did read this issue, and I'm back in. I enjoyed this more than the last one.
So it's funny. I was streaming God of War last night, which, by the way, still that game is becoming more of a Matt game the more I play of it.
I finished it. I finished it in a week. Matt would love the hell out of it.
Yeah.
You guys are I'm gonna say this now, like the 5th or 6th people to tell me I need to buy a PlayStation 4 just to play this.
I think
even though I know the Pete's.
God of War and all the Uncharted.
You should watch the run through, like even Pete's maybe. If you can tolerate him that much. But
I need to get Matt on a stream. I need to get Matt on a stream and play some Uncharted or something, and just have him react to the life that he's missing. But it's getting so. But anyway, the point I was getting at is I was streaming last night, and one of our regular viewers was saying, "Oh, do you think Matt will be more on board with Sideways this week because he was quite down in the last issue?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know why he was down in the last one. I don't know if he's going to be okay with this one. Who knows?" So I'm laughing because immediately you're like, "Yeah, I'm back in, baby. I'm back in. Sideways has got me."
We all know that I love a couple things in comics.
Jason Todd.
And one of them is continuity. And
Wonder Woman's
you're gonna throw the 7. No, not that. No.
How many more Jasons can I think of?
No Jason Todd. No Jason Themyscira, whatever the hell his last name was. But no. Continuity in reintroducing the 7 Soldiers of Victory in a concept like Sideways. I feel now Sideways isn't going anywhere. Granted, the 7 Soldiers are this mystical. Have they existed? will they always exist kind of characters. But the fact that there's an opening and we get to see them in Sideways tells me he's kind of a character that's going to be around for the long run.
Yeah,
and like,
they basically come by the end and like, hey, we need your help. Because he's like, oh, well, there's 7 soldiers and like, there's only 6 of you. Very observational of you. We need to find our 7th member. Let's come and help us with that. Dark Multiverse, all this stuff's happening. But this, of course, happens, you know, whilst he's mourning his mother's death, because that's what happened at the end of last issue. And him and his dad don't have a great relationship. He's been very confrontational. He goes to the, you know, because he's sideways into the morgue. He riffs into the morgue, and he's like, you know, because I think what hit me the most, because last issue he kept like ignoring his mum's phone calls, and in this issue he brings up his phone and there's 12 missed calls from his mum that's still sitting there on his phone.
And he still keeps going back and looking at him.
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, this is kind of hurting. And he's been, you know, he goes and speaks to his mother's body, and then he goes to school, and he gets so upset when this bully, like, you know, says something bad about his mum, and he's been kind of mad at Ernie and not listening to her, but he gets so mad at this bully that he just, not only does he punch him with his strength that sends him flying, which makes everyone like, wait, how strong is he? He opens a rift when they say something like you have to cool down. Yeah, stay hydrated. He's like, oh, be hydrated. That's a good idea. He opens a rift to a waterfall and lets the water pour into the school. And Ernie's like, what have you just done? You've just like thrown away all your secrets. He's like, well, secrets would got my mum dead, so you know maybe I shouldn't have a secret. So one of the things that the 7 soldiers say is that if you help us, we'll erase the last hour from the memories of everyone around you, so that we can put your identity back in place. But I kind of I liked him lashing out like this. It felt very real to me, because they're doing essentially the build up to the Uncle Ben death, right? That's essentially what this is from, is his mum's Uncle Ben, and even to the fact that she adopted him, kind of like Uncle Ben did. And I'm like, oh, it makes sense that he would lash out, that he would get angry, and that he would do this. And seeing him actually go this far, and obviously they're going to reverse it most likely with the 7 soldiers, but that's fine. I got to see him do it. I got to see how it affected him like this. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It really hit that. So I just don't like the way that the last issue was composed, but the emotion was there, and I like the fallout here a little bit more. Because like you said, he's just like, I don't care.
Yeah. He's
at that point where like nothing matters. He lost his mom, and he's willing to do all this, but the fact that this magic group comes to him, and you know, because they need him and his rifting powers, which I don't know that much about the 7 soldiers. I just know that they've been around for a long time in different iterations. So you know, it looks like he's replacing the Guardian. So I'm wondering how he fits in with the rest of them. But I mean, more Zatanna I'm never mad about, and Frankenstein for that matter.
So Connor's back.
Zatanna and Frankenstein are in this?
Yeah, Connor's totally sideways now.
So this is based off of the Morrison 7 soldiers, which, funnily enough, they never teamed up till the last issue. So there were 7. There's 7 because it's Morrison. 7 miniseries of 7 issues each.
Yeah, I've never read it. I keep looking at the Omni and going, oh, maybe.
The Omni comes out next week, so this might be the time.
Yeah, I keep seeing it keeps getting recommended on Amazon. I'm like, oh, maybe.
Yeah. So you have Clarion the Witch Boy, right? Which, of course, you have Zatanna, you have Shining Knight, you have Frankenstein, you have the Shiloh Norman version of Mr. Miracle. So I think that's important. You have the Bulleteer, and now you have Sideways. So, I always liked, because the 7 soldiers also, they're that team that exists, but they don't, because if they're doing their job, then they stop whatever is bringing them together. So, it's you add this, and then the not the Chrononaut, the Fusionaut stuff, and him dealing with grief. I'm back in.
Matt is so unpredictable when it comes to this book. I didn't like it as much as last issue, but I still thought it was really good. I liked him dealing with the death of his mother, and I liked that this adventure is almost like taking him out of his life for a little bit to go and deal with it and get his pent up rage. In this, he can focus into this mission, which is so separate from his life. So I think when he comes back from this mission, whether it's like 2 issues, 3 issues, whatever, he'll come back with a new lease in life and kind of, maybe talk to Ernie a little bit differently, maybe try and connect with his dad or something. But maybe have like an actual reason to be a hero, because you know he's been kind of trying up until this point, but it's been kind of like because he assumes he's supposed to, because like you know there's heroes in the world.
Yeah, there's that, and he's trying to make it big on YouTube also. So again, you nailed it with the Uncle Ben stuff, because that was like Peter trying to be a wrestler, and then not stopping the criminal that ends up killing Uncle Ben. So we kind of joked that this was DC Spider-Man, and they're leaning into it, not nearly as much as Lemire with the Terrifics, but
just you wait until the Red Rabbit becomes his main villain.
I do think that is maybe a problem with this line in general. Is most of them do seem to be trying to do something that Marvel has that they don't. You know, this is Spider-Man. You know, Damage was Hulk. You know, Terrifics is Fantastic Four, and I just question like, okay, how much have you got beyond the gimmick for some of these books?
Immortal Men is irrelevant
and cancelled.
Yes, first to go.
New Challengers.
No, that New Challengers is the first to go. That got demoted to a mini before it even started.
Yeah. Okay, sure. It depends how you want to phrase it. I feel like at least them saying that's a mini in advance feels a little bit more. I don't know.
They knew.
A bit more dignified than just cancelling the other book as it's running.
Yeah. And then you have the one that Connor has to read on Connor's Corner is their Ghost Rider. Brimstone.
That's right, yes.
That better be cancelled soon.
That's a good point, actually. Usually do that on week 3. You're not here next week. You're going to have to do that on week 4.
No, but we've got week 4 and 5 that are both relatively quiet.
Oh, that's right. We get 5 weeks this month. Okay, you're fine. You got week 5. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Okay.
But yeah, so what are you rating Sideways?
Solid 8 from me. I think it's really good.
Yeah. Rocafort art really kicked it up, so I agree with that 8.
Was he back on it?
Yeah, he's back on this issue. I guess it was just one fill-in.
That I think is notable, given that this, you know, most of them have changed artists and whatever, but Rocafort stuck around on this one.
Yeah.
I feel like Rocafort has a lot of input with DIdio, you know, so I feel like he gives the story points he would like to see, and then DIdio fashions.
And Roccafort's been very good at deadlines in the past anyway, at keeping a monthly schedule.
And to be fair, the fill-in we got was DJ Domenico, so it's not even like we dived into...
It's a good fill-in, It's a very good fill-in.
So, you know, it's good stuff. But that is Sideways, which does bring us to the final section of the show, which is picking our favourite stuff of the week, which is, you know, best panel / moment, best cover, best art, top 5 books. And we got a plethora of books to pick from this week, so this should be an interesting enough list. So, starting with best panel / moment. Connor.
Yeah, I'm not ready on that one. Come back to me.
Matt.
Mine's from Supergirl, and it's Kara and Krypto in the spaceship, and he's sitting in the front seat like a good boy, and his tail's wagging, and he's just ready for an adventure. That made me smile so much.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with that. I'm going to go with Detective. I have to go. I mean, I really like Cass when she first shows up with her hood, like at the fight scene. But I think I'm going with I'm Help. Her revealing her face to make them feel more comfortable with her, was just touching. It got to me. So So somehow Cass is like one of my favorite characters, but somehow still probably my third favorite Batgirl, which just shows you the high quality of Batgirls that we have been blessed with. in DC Comics.
The fact that she wasn't Batgirl right now in Rebirth.
Yes.
You know, I feel it needs to be rectified. I feel like they needed just her and Babs have to switch for whatever reason.
You're waiting on the Batgirls series, aren't you?
Batgirls, all 3 of them.
Yep.
I want to.
Yeah. Well, and Steph hasn't been Batgirl either. She's only been Spoiler, so we need to get that in there.
Yeah. Get those bats on their outfits, get them in the ears, and set them off in their ways. Needs to happen. Connor, you're not picked yet.
No, I think I'm actually going to go from Catwoman. I think that panel with the face with the red behind it and then the sequence of fight panels below it, I think that's a really nice flow of image.
All right. Best cover of the week then. Oh, I'm not prepared for this. Connor.
It's going to be the Hawkman variant, the Sejic one.
I figured you.
I mean, there are some good ones. I really like the detective variant. With the Batmobile.
That's good.
Yeah, I haven't found that one. It looks like a diagram.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's the blueprint style thing. I really like that.
I've got a funny feeling. I don't know if he's going to pick it, but Matt will be tempted by the Supergirl variant with Krypto.
Oh no, it is.
Okay.
I made sure. There wasn't one
God damn
left.
it! Is that the Amanda Connor one?
Yes, it is.
I forgot that was
And
there.
my shop made sure I got one. So yeah, Krypto's a good boy.
Yeah, it's a very good cover. I'll give you that one.
I'm tempted to go with the Flash variant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Very pretty, very very pretty. Anytime to get the streaks right on the Flash, where you can see the streak of the red and the lightning, going back the way, I really like that.
It's not Middleton for Flash on this one. It's Delato, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Delato.
It's really pretty though. I'm digging it, and I'm just checking. Obviously, the Supergirl variant's very good. I'm just checking the others just to make sure there's nothing that.
Yeah, I do actually really like the Hal Jordan variant with the lineup of lanterns. That's quite a nice image.
Also, it's worth mentioning there's an Alex Ross cover for Plastic Man this week, which notable.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the first image they released for the book, right? Was this cover?
Not the first one, no.
No, no, that's the first one.
Had Wonder Woman been talked about this week, that might have been my pick. Because
that one of the ones
from
on the
Connor
beach?
sent me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
It's like a travel poster.
I'll go with the Flash variant. Let's just make everything different.
Lots of good covers this week, though.
Lots of good covers. So best art of the week then. Matt.
It's got to be a clean sweep. It's got to go to Supergirl. Maguire. Man, I really love that book. I might need to adjust the score.
Didn't you give it a 9?
You give it a 9, Matt.
Yeah, I know. I might need to be a 9.5. Anyways.
I like Titans art a lot, actually. I thought Flash was solid. Superman was really good. Obviously, Joelle Jones is great.
Anyways.
I think I have to go with Supergirl as well, though. I think I have to go with Maguire. Oh, and Plastic Man was very good. I think I really want to point that out as well. I think I gave it to Plastic Man last month, actually, on this week. Now I'm thinking about
I think you did.
But I'm going to go with Supergirl. I think Supergirl edges out just a little bit. Really good. Connor.
That's fair. I think last month I gave it to Hawkman, and I'd be tempted, but there's just one or two many panels where the body position's not quite there that detract from it. So I think I'm actually going to go with Catwoman because Jones back on form and some great flow to the art.
All right. Well, I'm going to swing back to you for your top 5 books of the week.
Yeah. Okay. So I think number 1's going to be Hawkman. I had a blast with that book. 2's probably Plastic Man. 3, Flash. 4, Hal Jordan. 5, Detective.
Cool. Matt?
So, number 1, Supergirl. No shadow of a doubt. Number 2 is Flash. 3 is Hawkman. 4 is Superman. And 5 is Sideways. Wasn't kidding around.
Damn, he's really back on board for Sideways. Jeez. Okay, my number 1 is also Supergirl. My number 2 is probably Flash as well. I didn't read Hawkman though, Matt, so don't worry, it's changing now.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Supergirl, then Flash, and then I'm thinking it's actually really tough. I've got a lot that are in a very similar, really good place.
Yeah.
So Supergirl, Flash, and then I think I'm going to go with Detective at number 3, and then Superman number 4, and it's like it's. I went with Titans. Titans at number 5. Titans. There you go. That's my. Oh no, Plastic Man was really good. No, I'll go with Titans. Titans was I think more notable just because it was like, it's another step up for the book. So I'll give it to Titans for number 5. But yeah, so that's my top 5. So there you go. That actually brings it end to episode 116 of Comics from the Multiverse. This is the point of the show at which we will try and sell you and plug you on going to our Patreon at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. And And I'm supposed to tell you what's coming out next week as well. I'll do that after. It's coming. But yeah, so patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can go over there and you can support the show, support the channel, everything we do. If you give us $1 a month, that is great help, great support. If you can't do that, don't feel too bad. You can obviously watch the ads on YouTube. You can like, you can subscribe, get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. But if you do want to support us on Patreon, you get some bonuses. At the $5 tier, you do get the monthly bonus episode, the Comics from the Multiverse monthly, which me and Connor do. We did JLA the Nail like a week ago.
Yeah, maybe 2, just over. It was before the last episode, I think. Was
it? Okay, but it was just up recently. Which I think now we're at like 12 episodes of that are up there now. If you pay your $5, you get access to the 12 episodes now. We've done it for a year, so like that.
Man, we haven't done that many. Yeah. That's cool.
And this month's episode,
if you go right now, you get to vote.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, this month's the voting episode. Whenever there's a week 5, we do a vote for the monthly book, which obviously is always a collection or a hardcover or whatever. You know, it's always a graphic novel, if as the bookstores would incorrectly call it. But I mean, sometimes it's a graphic novel.
Occasionally, correctly. Yeah. We have done some graphic novels as well. But
more often than not, I feel like there's a lot more collections than there are graphic novels, I think.
There are, yeah.
Yeah. So you get that over at Patreon. Other than that, of course, you know, as I said, DC Comics Podcast on Twitter, and get our individual Twitters. I'm at Wibble89, Matt's at Matt of Steel 57, Connor's at Connor Ryan 94. So that's all that. But yeah, so what's coming next week? Actually, that is something that I should tell you.
You got a whole 5 books.
Yeah,
something like that.
There's 6 total books for the show next week. It'll be me and Matt on the show next week. Connor's missing the episode, but we got Justice League number 6, Batman 53, Green Lanterns 53, Aquaman 39, Batgirl 25, which is a nice big anniversary issue, which is nice, and then the final issue of Batwoman's next week as well. That's issue 18. So that is what's coming next week. Also out is Damage number 8, Harley Quinn 48, and New Challengers number 4, assuming that those dates all held.
Also, the new.
Oh,
go on.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, are you guys still covering the Sandman universe next week?
Yeah, might as well.
I also want to point out the new Bendis creator round, Pearl, is out next week as well.
Oh, the art in that does look really nice.
Yes, it does, and it's about the Yakuza, so I might be... No, I can't get it physically, though.
Yeah, no.
It's only 6 issues, Matt.
I know. I feel like I have the Devil Angel on my shoulder right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Bendis and Gatos who created Jessica Jones, so it's sure to be a lot of fun.
I just want to, because I'm not here next week, I'm telling you now, Aquaman has the best cover, the variant.
We shall decide that next week.
Well, no, I'm telling you now.
No,
that's it.
That doesn't count. You're not on that.
It's hard to argue that.
Matt, don't encourage him. So yeah, so you can join us next week for those books. And like we say, we will go back and check out Sandman Universe number 1, I think. Although interestingly, Connor's the one who's read Sandman. Won't be here to talk about it, so you'll be getting like an outsider's perspective on that book. Does it
could be interesting.
Yeah, does it work for people who have not really read Sandman? We'll find out. But like I say, we want questions, so by all means go to at DC Comics Podcast.
Yep.
And go on the comments for the YouTube video and send us your questions for next week's episode, and we'll pick a bunch of them to talk about next week to beef up the quieter show. And week 4 is a little bit busier, and then back to week 5 we'll also need some questions then. But yeah, that's what's coming up on the show next week, so thank you very much once again. Keep reading DC Comics and all that. We appreciate you loads. Whether you're listening, whether you're watching, however you consume the show, and remember we're on Spotify now if that's convenient for you. But thank you very much once again. We'll see you next time. Keep reading comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Krypto is such a good boy.